What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away. Burn away, we feel betrayed. We will
I think America needs a new mom and dad. Okay.
lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world.
How about have you played yet? Played what?
Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
I've played with it, but that's like a daily thing. More than 2 shakes, you're playing with it. Of course I've played. Oh, bag. Have you not?
Feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
pretty good. I mean,
Kill it anyway.
like I'm not great at it. Like I tried like following a storyline out, and then I got to where one of the bosses was just kept beating my ass, and I couldn't beat him. So currently, I'm like in a position where I'm just like farming XP. Like I'm running around trying to find the gangs on the side of the road, beating them up. I've done some bounty hunt missions. Like for the main story, I have to beat this goblin guy. But every time I show up, he just beats the shit out of me. I don't know how to dodge his crazy attacks. And like one of his the first time I was fighting him, which I've leveled up since then, like one of his like crazy attacks that like, it's a sword attack, but he like stabs his sword into the ground and it shoots out like energy. One of those attacks takes like 30% of my health. So you get like, if he does that 3 times, I'm just fucking dead. So right now I'm just trying to build my character up so I can like just go back and continue the storyline part. Also, fast travel's really weird in the game. To fast travel, you have to find like these. There's like plinths, like a stone. Some of them are like little stands with like a light in it, but most of them are like this. It almost looks like a sewer cap, like a real round sewer cap. It's about that size, and they're just randomly around. And you find those, and that's the only way to fast travel in the game. I mean, it's not a bad game. I don't think it's gonna have like the story of like Red Dead Redemption or the what should we call it? What is the game? Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 just had the craziest fucking good storyline. Like it was insanely good. And the fact that it's like history adjacent. I wouldn't say it's accurate, but it's like got accurate kings and lords and even enemies like Zizka, Jan Zizka. He's like a real person. I think that's probably a better game. But Crimson Desert, the world's huge. I've been nowhere near like the end of the world or anywhere close to it. And it's not bad. I traded in my sword and shield for a spear. It seems like there's a lot more damage you can get on with a spear. I'm not good at blocking at all. Like apparently there's a way to, if you time your block just right, it'll block and parry. Like, block and swing back. And if block and parry does a lot of damage or helps with bosses, they won't hit you as many times. Like if a boss has like a 4-hit combo and you can block and parry on like a second hit, the other 2 hits don't even come. Like he'll just stop his attack. But I can't do it. So I do a lot of rolling out of the way, a lot of running away, a lot of jumping around. And I'm not good at it yet. I've played it probably, I want to talk about my time in the game. Hold on, I'll look. And there's a big warning when you first start the game that it says, hey, you need to be playing on fucking controller right now. Like, do not even attempt this on keyboard. I'm playing on keyboard and mouse, so I don't know. Oh, no, I've got the wings. The wings just allow you to kind of glide up. Like, you can't fly up. You glide off of stuff. How many hours? I've played a total of 8 hours since I've been back from Nashville. I got it the first day I got back from Nashville. The wings basically, like, when you jump off, like, say if you jump off a ledge, or like there's this sky-based thing that I've only been to once. Apparently I'm supposed to go back to it eventually. But when you jump off a platform, you can glide, and until your stamina runs out, you can travel. But once your stamina runs out, all you can do is fall. But I did get the wings. It would be cool if I could just take off up into the air and tell everybody to fuck off, but I can't. I also need to ride my horse. So I really need to grind just combat mechanics to build up my player up. And I need to spend a lot of fucking time on my horse too to level it up. All right, here we go.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's
I think you'd enjoy it, Dr. J, if you got some time to kill. If you're really busy and don't have hours to jump into it, I don't think you'll like it for just like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. But if you have like a couple hours, even if it's just a couple hours a week,
I heard that it's
like
very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that.
Facebook's going. I did it while I was talking to everybody.
Never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda.
I'll tell you the storyline in just a second.
Enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Break Facial. Thank you for joining us. We're talking video games, or we were just there. Give me a second. Basically, the storyline is like you're in this clan, and your whole clan's wiped out, and somehow you survive. But you're like favored by these godlike. So far in the story, I guess it may change. I'm barely into it, but you're also kind of favored by this god. Like you run into a bum, and like a homeless guy, a kid, and somebody else. And you end up helping them like in your first couple of missions, and they end up being gods or a god, and they take you up to this platform that's, I wouldn't say it's heaven, but it's like just above Earth. And you go up there and you unlock some weird abilities where you can like fuck with this. It's almost like energy. Like there's these like blocks that produce energy, and you can like line up stuff to make like almost like an electric circuit and turn stuff on, turn stuff off. You jump around there. They give you wings that you can glide with. But the ultimate goal is to rebuild your clan, which is called the Grey Wolves, and I'm guessing take vengeance on the other clans. The bad guys in the bad guys are the other clans, right? Or like robbers and burglars and thugs that are part of like other clans. And as you're playing the game, there's like areas of interest, like a fishing dock or a winery or this. And the other clans will move in there and set up base. And if you go in there and clear that area out, like clear the base out, then friendlies will come in there. Not your clan, but like local militia will come in there. Grey Wolves, Grey. Then it's all right. It's an all right game. I'll show you a video of it in just a second. I'm not as drawn into it as like I was like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 like sucked you in from the get-go. Like you're on a horse. That's the second one, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You're on a horse riding with your buddy. You're talking about all the pussy and beer you're going to get when you get to the next city while you're delivering an official message for the king. You stop for the night just outside like where the city proper starts, and you get ambushed middle of the night. They kill all your friends. You have to run through the fucking woods. You almost die. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. That was a good story. I don't know that this one's that good. Even RDR2 was a really good story. Those are like my peak games, right? Those are the two that I just fucking I play it right the fuck now for hours. Start completely over. Even the shitty part of RDR2 that's like in the snow. Red Dead Redemption 1 wasn't that good, right? Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 wasn't that good. I do like how if you go back and play Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first one, that you meet like the characters and stuff like before they become a bigger part of the next character. But man, what Kingdom Come Deliverance team did is just fucking amazing. That's a crazy game. Cinematic. It's like fucking watching a movie and being part of it. It's so good. Yeah. Hold on. We'll check out a video because we already watched something. It is called Crimson. See if we can get the storyline. Like I said, it also has way too much information, like most games. Like basically, when you go into a town, there's probably 100 people that you can get the backstory and run into and talk to or whatever. And it keeps a codex of every person you meet, what they're into, what they like, what they don't like, what missions they might have for you. That was from 2 months ago. Already fixed. Was there something wrong with it? I don't know if it's better or somebody else in the chat was playing it, right? Somebody said they were. Are you playing on? Are you playing with controller?
Crimson Desert, and just kind of a look at it now that the game has launched, the dust has settled, and what's going on, because I think the release of this game,
I think the bosses, to me, or the reviews that I've seen and talking about people, the bosses are way too hard. You're just not ready for them, so you got to leave and grind a shit ton. Like, the minions leading up to the boss should be like sort of on the same level. That way, if I can't beat these minions, or these minions are taking half my health when I try to fight them, then I'm probably not ready for the boss. But if I can just obliterate like 100 fucking people, and then I get to the boss and I can't even hit him once, that's pretty crazy.
game has been really interesting, right? So first you have Pearl Abyss, the developers announcing that the game has crossed 3 million copies sold. That's in like a week. They had announced 2 million, a really good
mouse and keyboard. Okay, me too.
And so,
did you see the warning when you loaded the game? It was like, do not. This game is meant to be played on with a controller. Do not use mouse and keyboard. I'm like, wow.
oh, this game is big. If you miss it on this channel, actually, a lot of you guys might actually be new. Some of you saw the video I did on Crimson Desert, either here on this channel, or I covered it on the Game Ranks Before You Buy on the Game Ranks YouTube channel. Overall, I think...
So there's the wings you get. They're like black wings. They're only for gliding. As far as I know, there's no way to gain altitude. You can go faster. You can go directions. You can use your like electrical blue spark force stuff while you're in the air, and you can drop. But that's as far as I know.
Crimson Desert
There's no way to gain altitude.
I think it is the end-all be-all life-changing game that a lot of people were hyping it up to be in their heads. No, it is a massive amount of flaws. It is crazy, some of the things this game decides to...
You can hunt, too. I know you like to hunt and fish. You can hunt and fish on here. Not like RDR2. RDR2 made it fucking awesome. Like, basically, you just kill an animal, you walk up to it, and press skin.
But still, despite all the weird choices and issues that the game has, the fun factor managed...
So there's the enemies.
The sense of scale, it's cool to see.
The enemies are all color coordinated. So, like, if you're fighting the yellow guys or the red guys or whatever, they all wear the same color.
The technology, the visuals, but also fun combat, the sense of exploration, some decent character progression.
One cool thing that I think they put into a mechanic that I haven't seen, you know, recently at least, or much at all, is they've got a mechanic where you go into this tower and you find this weird looking helmet. Like, it looks like a pot with 2 legs, but it's a helmet on your head. And basically, when you're in a certain area, you can hold up your lantern and you can see like the remnants of a memory that happened there. And if you go to that location, he'll put on this helmet and it'll broadcast a memory to you so you can gather clues about shit. That's pretty cool.
And just player expression in weird, funky combat and movesets. It's just been a really fun playground.
See, basically, you just skydive or you glide.
Incredible, lovable story, really keeping me along. But it's just messing around with this world, and in this world has kept me hooked.
Oh, you can mine and shit, too. There is a lot of shit to do. I won't take that away from you. You can mine, you can fish, you can hunt. Somebody said you can buy seeds and farm. I haven't seen that mechanic yet, but someone said it.
Beat out like the critical side of my brain that sees so many things and goes, that's weird, ooh, that's bad, because there is a lot of stuff, and if you've been playing the game, you probably get it too. But they've been patching this.
That guy had a fucking pot on his head.
Really impressive to see what these developers have changed.
They're all made out of jugs.
Has launched. It's fixed some issues with some bosses. It literally has fixed like this horse spawning and walking up to you. It's tweaked the combat a little bit, but in ways you can actually notice. It has fixed puzzles that were pretty terrible. It has added more resources. It has fixed.
There's already been like a couple of puzzles that I didn't feel like they were explained right. Like, I'm pretty good with puzzles, and I could not figure out how to fucking even attempt these puzzles. I didn't even know what move. And then finally I just hit it with, I was just randomly doing moves that I knew it had showed me. And one of them is like this nature punch blast with like leaves and green shit. And that fucking unlocked the puzzle. It was so stupid.
Did you know there's a lot of stuff in Crimson Desert that you don't know that you should probably...
Bounty hunting's fun because when they see you, if they know you're a bounty hunter or if they're in the hiding, they'll try to run. They might try to fight. I just picked up this bitch in a church. Like, I had to get into the church and go down the basement. And as soon as she saw me come down the stairs, she took off running. And when I started getting close to her, you have to like run up and tackle them. You only get half of it if you kill the bounty, and full price, you bring them in alive. So I like have to run and tackle her, and at the same time she's screaming like, "I didn't do anything. You got the wrong person." Like, it was really making me doubt myself. Like, is this the right person?
know, but you probably don't need to know at the same time, but it's good to know? Well, let's begin. Did you know that you can actually take off your hood in this game with certain clothing attire? And you do this by bringing up your armor wheel and selecting over a cloak or a similar clothing item. And instead of using right trigger or left trigger or whatever it is on mouse and keyboard, and instead of hitting A, just scroll over it, highlight it, and then let go. And voila. You can also lift up with certain helms in this game by doing the same exact thing, just highlighting it and then letting go.
Well, I'll be.
Did you know that you can sleep in pretty much anyone's bed in this game as long as it's not occupied to pass some in-game time?
That's what I've been doing is just sleep. I don't know if I have a bed, but every house upstairs has a bed, and I just been sleeping in their bed. I figured it'd be like KCD, where like the owner of the bed is like, hey, get the fuck out of here, wakes you up.
And if it is occupied, well, just throw on a mask and do this. Well, that didn't work. You can also pass time at campfires, even ones with cooking pots. You just have to use the focus light, so LB or control if you're on mouse and keyboard. Did you know that you can also use light reflect?
My biggest issue so far with playing is accidentally clicking. So both left click and right click, which I accidentally hit all the fucking time. It's like I'm fucking carpal tunnel or muscle control or something I'm struggling with, is attack. So I just be running around the city and then accidentally attack everybody. Then a bounty goes up, then the guards are after me.
While you're flying, just hit the same button that you would if you're not flying, and you can scan the environment to try to find those sealed abyss artifacts and fast travel points. The same thing applies while riding a horse. Did you know that you can actually land on your horse while flying? Check it out.
I've already done this by accident.
You didn't even have to press a button, but does it work on a wild horse? I'm not really sure. Let's give it a try. Let's go, baby. Yeah! In Crimson Desert, waterfalls will absolutely wreck you. So you want to give it a try, Crowboy? If you're doing it. Prepare for takeoff. Did you know?
There's also fucking plants that'll kill you. I got killed by plants earlier at a checkpoint. I had no fucking idea that plants were killing me. I was just standing there.
You can overcome the waterfall's current by doing it the stab skill and aiming it at the waterfall, and the stab skill is right here in your skill tree. So stop asking me what buttons to press. Here we go. Stabby poo. Yeah. The catch is it only works on waterfalls that have space behind them. I did enough work today. You're going to find those on your own. Did you know that in Crimson Desert you can actually get on the back of several of the creatures? You don't officially own the mount, meaning you're not going to be able to send it to the stable and call upon it when you want, but you can have some good temporary fun. And some of these creatures actually do attacks too. Let's see if I can get one of these antilopias. There we go. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
If you want to try this with a more hostile creature such as a bear, just be, oh my god, just be prepared to have to actually take its health down to the point of where it gets a little stun, and then you can pretty much jump on its back, and then when you get off, it's going to try to kill you. Definitely never ridden the moose before though, so let me give this a try. Nope. Sorry. Did you know? Well, for number one, you can actually ride boats in this game.
Yeah. Already been in a boat.
But this Did You Know is actually much more interesting than that. We're going to row over there to Gilligan's Island. Don't think the game wants me to go over here. Okay, we're still afloat.
I saw there's a place to buy explosive arrows. I wish, one mechanic I wish was better. Is there like, I just keep seeing black shit on my face. One mechanic I wish was better is being like a fucking scout archer kind of, you know, as soon as I shoot somebody, well hidden, with cover, like behind concealment, like hidden out of line, I shoot somebody with an arrow, they instantly, everybody in the area knows where the fuck I'm at. Like there is no hiding, there's no standing in the shadows, there's no nothing. They instantly know everywhere, everybody's coming too. Holy fuck.
He fucked up.
Yeah, I would say so.
Probably the coolest Did You Know of all the Did You Knows. Did you know that you can actually high jump off of your horse's back by simply hitting the dismount button while your horse is jumping, like this?
Oh, shit.
But even better, did you know that you can jump off cliffs with your horse? You just don't look. Fly away. Don't look back. And then when you safely land, just call your horse again, and it should be A-OK.
Hell yeah.
Did you know that many of the trees in this game can actually serve as human slingshots for extreme speed, land navigation?
You can also buy an axe and chop down lumber.
Aim your axiom force towards the top of the tree.
It's a pretty fun game. You should try it.
And then when you press the button prompt to pull, you'll notice another button prompt pop up, and on controller, this is the same as when you reel in a fish when you're fishing. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling the tree back, round and round and round and round, and then I'm going to go ahead and press the jump button. Here we go.
Oh, shit. That was pretty cool.
This is actually really fun, though, and you can get some good distance and also height to get on top of cliffs. Did you know that you can use your spirit skill, Force Palm, to actually mine ore in areas where it's kind of hard to get your pickaxe on?
No, I did not know that.
But do you note that if you have obtained the mining knuckle drill from the drill boss in the Karen Quarry, which is northeast of the starting town, check out the button prompts in the bottom right of my screen right here. This is a one-handed drill. And there you go. If you don't have the knuckle drill equipped and you use those same button prompts, nothing's going to happen, but you can kind of stab at the stone and pull, but you're going to look like an idiot. There's actually a few other ways you can go about this as you gain new skills. One is by using focused shot, but two is by gaining the force current skill, which does require axiom force level 2. Let me just go like this. Press force current. And it falls to our feet. Interestingly enough, force current also works on trees. And it even works on baby horses.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. Definitely tried it on a stupid ass goat, so didn't work. I had to resort to good old-fashioned steel. Did you know that when the guards are coming after you like this, you can hide in the hay? But they're not too smart. This guy's so stupid, I think I'm gonna kill him. You can find little piles of hay like this scattered throughout most of Pi Well, so if you're on the run, consider jumping in. As you progress the main story, you'll end up unlocking 2 companions, and you can actually play as those companions in this game. Most of you guys should know that. However, some people might
I have not unlocked the companions. You can also get a dog companion that'll come out and like automatically loot for you, which is something I'd like to get.
Be unaware,
but I
you can
haven't
actually
yet.
summon these companions to fight at your side. You don't have to just take control of them. Just highlight over one of the companions, and instead of actually just letting go to become the companion, press the button prompt. And a few moments later, your comrade or comrades will show up at your side, and they will actually run around with you in the open world. And that includes fighting bandits. However, they will not join you in boss fights, and they won't tell you the answers to puzzles. Not quite sure why Pearl Abyss didn't take advice from Dragon Age of Elgard. That was sarcasm, in case you didn't get it. I personally find the AI for the companions to be a little lackluster, to say the least, but they will pull aggro, which can be helpful, and they also use the skills that you have invested into them. Interestingly enough, when you have a companion with you, you can actually just switch back and forth between each character with ease. You can even treat Cliff
That's
as
cool.
kind of a companion instead of the main character, but you're not going to push on the main story unless you're playing as Cliff. Did you know that Cliff, or if you're playing as one of the companions, when you zoom in and face the camera towards them,
Anyways, that's probably enough, right? I don't want to just do video game content. Most people don't play video games. It's cool. You should try it out, Dr. J. I've enjoyed it so far, if you've got time for it. If you don't have time and you just want to go, you got 30 minutes, you just want to go hunt in RDR2, that's probably not enough time to really fall into this. But good luck. Let's see what we got. A little hot video. Little hot video because Texas is booming. How about that?
We will rock you. We will rock you. Shiny body and mannequin, you get it. Canny, my friend, mannequin, you get it. Canny, my friend, mannequin, you get it. We will rock you.
They can't even clap together.
Rock you. Canny, my friend, mannequin, you get it. Canny, my friend, mannequin, you get it. Canny, my friend, mannequin, you get it. We will rock you. Woo!
Nailed it. Nailed it. Also, a little bit of creepy shit going on the internet these days. Check this out, and you tell me if you can figure out what's going on. How long does it take you to figure it out?
Hi friends, girlies, where are we?
Burger King!
Yep, we're at Burger King. We're not getting Happy Meals, what do they call them here? We're just getting some mozzarella sticks to share. They actually call them mozzarella fries, so I was like a little confused, but that's just what they call them at Burger King. So we got mozzarella fries and marinara sauce.
Stragglers from Texas. Texas is booming.
I'm going to ask for 2 crowns for them as well. So I will take you along in the drive-thru with us. Hi, welcome to Burger King.
Hi, can I help you?
Hi, I have a mobile order for Rebecca.
Your name?
Rebecca?
One moment, please. You are checking. Rebecca?
Yes.
Okay. Next window, please, you know. Second window, please, you know. Sorry.
Thank you. Yep. Are you guys excited?
Yeah!
I am too. Finally.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah.
Lower, right?
Yeah. You have 2 crowns for them. Like, do you have 2 crowns?
Oh, okay.
She needs 2 crowns
Yeah. 2 for them. 2. Thank you so
for
much.
them.
Thanks.
2 crowns for their kids in the back.
Pull over and chow down. This time it's better because they're already made. Last time I had...
Hell yeah.
And I like these ones better because they're just crowns, not SpongeBob. Not that I don't like SpongeBob, but yeah. All right, so I'm gonna grab them, the girls, bring them up here so we can eat. Oops, she sat on the crown. Rebecca, come on. Amy, always turning the radio on with her feet. Okay. Oh, so hers is a little too big. Rebecca's is too small.
Hungry!
You guys are hungry.
So she goes back and edits these videos and puts the voices in.
I know.
When they said Burger King, that's her. Doubling up her voice, pitching it up, and she plays all 3 characters. She's struggling.
Okay. Cute. Rebecca's needs to be bigger. All right. I want them both to be in the frame because their little crowns are cute. You can see everybody. Okay.
Oh God, it's looking right at me.
So I got the biggest one because we're all starving and yeah.
Yeah. She has some type of mental health issues or something. I don't know.
Honestly, it's pretty cheap. There.
Like women that lost kids and this keeps them from like killing themselves and they're happy, whatever, right? Have at it. But why the TikTok? You know what I mean? Like if this keeps you happy, this is what you do. This keeps you from blowing your fucking brains out. You're locking yourself in your own little, world with kids that never age because you lost your kids. Have at it, right? Why the publication? You know what I mean?
There's house number 1. And here's house number 2. I need to get one of those, like, dip holders for the car. Mozzarella sticks, or mozzarella fries, as they call them here. They're so good. I didn't realize this thing has a dip holder, so we'll try that. And if we make a mess, now I know the girls are good at cleaning the car, so
Her husband's actually a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump.
we won't even worry about that.
She just said, now if we make a mess, I know the girls, her daughters, are good at cleaning up the car, so we don't have to worry about it. God, that fucking Iran video where all the kids are looking up at the missiles and some of them are on Epstein Island and they're like, we're doing this for everybody.
So it goes right in.
I hit right here.
That's actually cool.
And the old heart bone.
Too. Oh yeah, look.
Now watch.
Perfect.
Watch how they eat. Watch how they eat.
Perfect. So, me first.
Me first. It's me only, bitch.
Oh. All right. Whoa. Nice and big. Hold on.
Watch.
We'll dip it in for you. Try not to spill it on your outfit. Some water.
So she holds it in front of their mouth, cuts the camera, takes the bite herself, chews it up, finish it, and then holds it back in front of their mouth and turns the camera back on.
Emmy, do you want it dipped?
Yeah.
Of course she does. Okay. All right.
Is Scott McKay still around? Major Street Fighter.
Already broken. More for me.
They're all for you, bitch. More for me. Now watch. Who would do this in front of a kid's face? Look at this. Watch.
Feels good to eat, right, guys? All right, well, we're going to finish these and then do some shopping. When we get home, if we got anything interesting, we will show you guys.
So I don't know what's going on in this woman's life. It says, her profile says, I am under no obligation to make sense to you. And I agree. Like,
Hi,
this is
friends.
weird.
So here we are at Starbucks. It's raining, so you'll probably hear that in the background. Guess what I got? Nope. I got venti iced matcha latte, no classic.
Wait.
No.
It says lazy, rainy Sunday Starbucks with the girlies. They got a special present to share. And in parentheses, it says, if mommy doesn't steal it for herself.
I might need to go in and get a little bit more oat milk, but if I do that, I'm not going to have them put it in the cup because one time I did that and it was way too much. And you guys said I could ask for a little bit in a cup instead of my cup, you know? So I might do that. I'm not sure. But, oh, guess what else we got? Starbucks there. So cute. It's a keychain. It actually came with like holding a little flower, but I like it better without the flower because it was blocking the Starbucks logo, and I just like it like this. I only got one. Sorry, girlies. They actually only had one, but if we find another, maybe I'll get it, or we'll just all share this. or it'll just be for me. I don't know. Does anyone else have this? I think it's so cute. Okay.
At what age are you allowed to introduce dairy to plastic?
I guess that's it for now. Oh, one last thing. I pierced Amy's ears last night. I didn't make a video. Maybe I'll post something because I did film it, but the filming didn't come out good. The earrings came out great. She looks so cute. But actually, I don't know. We might do Rebecca, and then that could be a better video. And I myself have my ears pierced, but I haven't worn them in a while.
Oh, yeah. She said she went to pick up stuff to pierce their ears.
Like years, I mean. So I need to get new
And by stuff to pierce the ears, she meant a cordless drill and drill bit.
ones. But when I put the earrings in to try them, it seemed like my hole was too low. So I'm not sure if that's a thing. I'll have to put them in and you guys can tell me because...
Mariah's got chronic low holes. Really, it's a medical mystery, I think is the way the doctor described it.
Yeah. Anyway, bye! Hi, friends! So here we are at Starbucks. It's raining, so you'll probably hear that in the background. Guess what I got?
I made that up because they're made out of plastic, not flesh. So that was the joke, was the drill. McDonald's, no Happy Meals for these kids. Oh, no.
Washing Imogen's hair.
Oh, no.
Aussie shampoo.
Low hole syndrome, that's right. This is too much, right?
Gotta clean her ears. All done, now we'll put on her towel hair wrap for it to dry. Cuddly jammy time! And a quick appearance from Tuesday the cat. Now I'm gonna comb her hair. Hopefully it's easy. Started with this pink one, but the black comb worked better. It was nice to get the mousse out after having those space buns in. Tomorrow we'll probably do 2 French braids. Good night! Washing Imogen's hair.
And she does those voices. Good night.
Tomorrow we'll probably do 2 French braids. Good night! Washing Imogen's hair.
Somebody said, I'm starting to think Rebecca's dad should have full custody.
Hi, friends! So I just got my Starbucks! I started the video on my phone camera and then I switched it to just doing it right through TikTok. So that's why it completely switched where we're sitting. And what's happening to my face? Wait, what is going on? Oh my god.
And she seems young.
Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm not touching the phone and I don't have like a filter on. I like you guys to just see my ugly self. Is it better? Okay, so
I mean, she's not super young, but she's not old. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Like,
Chronically single.
it's not the lighting or anything. Okay, so take 2. Let's sit here for a minute. I think it's normal. Okay, we're just gonna have to do a whole new video. But I'm gonna post this anyway because the best part about having TikTok where you've been made fun
I
of.
wanted to see if she ever admitted, like, I know they're dolls, but I do this for, my mental health, or this is just something I like to do, or I don't have to answer to you.
Or whatever, like
I
people
wonder if she thinks they're real.
just say anything, is that you can actually post whatever you want and it's okay. Like if this was just, if I thought I was like cool and whatever and my TikTok was a cool niche or something, like that people, I don't even know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm gonna post this and then I'm gonna make a whole new video. Bye! Hi friends! So I just got my Starbucks! I started the video on my phone camera and then I switched it to
I don't know why.
just doing it.
They're looking at me, right? It's not just me.
Hi friends! friends. Oops, my rearview mirror is showing. So girly girls are here, both of them looking cute.
How I be feeling when I see someone comment saying the kids are made of plastic. And it's somebody flexing and she put a bunch of laughing emotes.
I already got my Starbucks today. I mean, like right now, it's in the car. I mean, usually I
would like an explainer. Okay? That's what I would like. Rebecca's school. Are you what? You don't send these kids to school, do you? School morning, Rebecca's breakfast. All right, so she's cutting up. Oh, God. I froze the audio because of that music, but okay. Oh, no.
The power of Christ compels you to give little Bert a little kiss.
Little Bart, little kiss. She looks like she's ready to go to school, except for that pole up her ass. That's weird. Can someone explain this to me? What happens to the food? Is she just driving past the school and pretending? What the fuck is happening? The only comment says the dolls are alive. Someone said, hey, look, no hate, you would probably be an amazing mother. First comment says, she is an amazing mother. And someone said, why are we encouraging this? And that person that said she is an amazing mother says, encouraging what? I gave a genuine compliment, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Have the day you deserve. Why are people taking up for this? I'm sorry, but this delusion she has that these are her children is crazy. She's literally pretending some plastic and paint are her daughters. And listen, maybe it is trauma response, but it really isn't healthy. And feeding deeper into the delusion is harmful. I don't know how I feel. What are you guys thinking? She's stopping at the school with the dolls. How often does she do this? It didn't show her taking it in at least. Maybe that's better. This lady's giving me the fucking creep. She's got them in the buggy. Oh no. Okay, this is the last one, I promise. Then we'll quit. We'll move on to something else. But she's got them in the buggy, taking them into Walmart.
Both girls and me, we are getting supplies for cookies this weekend. We're going to make sugar cookies with frosting, the kind that hardens.
She's trying to be like a mom vlogger, but clearly her kids are plastic.
And we need some snacks and whatever because it's supposed to be winter weather this weekend. So we probably just have to stay in all weekend, or at least.
Well, because they're hard surfaces, you actually vaccinate them with just Lysol.
So there's a cart like right next to me.
Non-porous.
And they both sit in the bigger basket part of it because that's just what they like to do. So they pretty much take up
what they like to do.
So I'm just going to have to have them hold the food as well. But we're not going to get too much. And then we're going to go home. All right, so I'm going to put Emmy in first. And I need to get a better phone holder because I don't really know how to do these kind of videos correctly. All right, Emmy's in the cart.
I poured some concrete today and all the fucking dust is up my nose. I can feel it.
Now we're going to grab Rebecca really quick. And we'll just take her out the same door. And again, we're not doing this like we should be.
What the fuck? Did she just fold it in half? Look where the boots are.
We're not doing this
She's got that kid folded in half.
like we should be.
Oh my God.
So we're freezing, but here they are. And this is how we're going to be. All right, they're in the cart. Got to get inside because we're free.
Could you imagine seeing her behind you in line at Walmart?
Freezing. And we're back. We only got 3 bags to put in, which is good because it is still really cold out here. Okay, so we're back, and I'm going to put the girls in first because it's freezing.
So the mom's name is Rebecca, okay? One of her daughter's name is Rebecca, and the other one's named Imogen. Maybe it has something to do with her, the way she was raised, and that's, I don't know. Fucking weird.
Freezing, so I got them back in, buckled, and we're gonna go home.
Good for you, not just leaving them in the car. They would have gotten colds. Someone said in the comments. She responds to all the positive, a lot of the positive comments, none of the negative ones. I don't know. This is creepy. Anyways, Rebecca, the name of the account is Rebecca. All the E's are 3. So R3B3CCA. Oh my God, she got a YouTube channel too. Has a wet wipe for her nose. What's that red stuff on the back windshield? Mommy picks up Rebecca, and then they both go get Imogen at her dad's. Was her dad the factory that produced it?
Hey friends, happy Saturday. There is nobody with me right now because my first stop is to pick up Rebecca, who had a sleepover at her cousin's last night. Second stop is Starbucks because you guys know me by now. And then third stop is to pick up Imogen, who was at her dad's. Here we are pulling up to Rebecca's cousin's house. Normally I'd stay and hang out, but they know I
Rebecca's cousin's house. Maybe she's just pretending all
pick
this.
up Imogen, so they had Rebecca all ready for me. I just went in, grabbed her, and left. Rebecca, did you have fun at your cousin's?
Yeah, I can't wait to go back.
Next stop,
Oh
Starbucks.
no, the voices bother me a lot more than most of it.
And then we're gonna go get Immy. All right, I got my Starbucks. I just realized I need to get gas though, and the gas station is right across the street from Starbucks. Sadly, they don't let kids pump gas, so I can't make Rebecca do it. So I'm gonna have to do it, and then we're off to get Immy.
Can't make the kid pump the gas. Her dad's a pine tree. Her dad's a fucking wood lathe. Wood bowl turner.
All right, got my girl Immy. I know you want us to go in, but I can't film in there. So here she is, and Rebecca's here too. So the family is together again as we.
Oh, she's not allowed to film in the dad's house. I wonder why. Is he afraid she's going to do something weird, or is he afraid that she'll embarrass him? Surely not.
Could be. Yay. Well, goodbye for now. Hey friends, happy Saturday. There is nobody with me right now because my first stop is.
Sorry, these people freak me the fuck out. I would watch a video. I don't give a damn if it was 30 minutes long, if it was just her saying, this is how it all got started. The eating videos where she pretends like it's eating and she's like, gotta feed the girls first. Oh, more for me. That's weird, right? It's all for you. They're not eating. We clearly see you edit like missing bites. That's, I don't know. I'm bothered by it all, okay, chat? I'm bothered. Also, check out this weird motherfucker. Dr. J can actually do this with her neck. I've seen her do it before. She does a little dance and does it. Look how fat he looks. And then look how skinny he looks. That's a big fucking... Jesus Christ. That's how Dr. J landed her first husband. I don't know if you guys know that or not. There is music playing, but it's copywritten. That's not AI. It's literally his talent. Someone said it kind of looks like both types of Brendan Fraser. Equal parts hate and lust. I can feel it. Jason Derulo, The Other Side was what was playing. This is his talent. Look at his profile picture. Turning the frickin' frogs gay. It is real. That's all he does. How did you find out you could do this, weirdo? This made my girlfriend fart. Thanks a lot. Nailed it. He's in. I know you can't hear the music, but he's in time with the music. I want to. If there's one without music, I'll show it to you. But they all have goddamn. Oh, this one might work. Hold on. This was just a harmonica. All right, here's the audio. Upchurch really struggling these days, isn't he? Holy shit. By the way, Upchurch, QAnon adjacent, friend of the show, Upchurch. He's really hit rock bottom, guys. The last fucking guy that was still on his side was a guy named Chad Shepard. And Upchurch has ran him off too. Apparently the guy didn't show up for work for 4 days in a row. Upchurch saw a picture on Instagram that somebody that used to work security for him had been at Chad's house and flipped out on him, and then Chad fucking quit. So the last guy, which is like his 15th manager in like 2 years, Chad Shepard, is now out of the picture. And Ryan thinks he's busted him because the guy rented a storage unit under Ryan's... Now, the guy was his manager. He rented a storage unit under Ryan's company name, which is Music City Man, Magic Music City Man, whatever, right? Put it in Chad Shepard's name instead of putting Ryan Upchurch's name on it, because a lot of people, especially like semi-celebrities or whatever, you don't want your name on a storage unit. People would be showing up, trying to steal it, whatever. And had equipment and merch in it for Ryan's business. And Ryan thinks he's got him busted for some reason. Damn, I might have to refresh. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Refresh the story. Damn it. Some of them's gone. It doesn't matter. I think Gotcha Man covered it. Anyways, we're going to check out Preston Stewart in a second, but for right now, let's go over to Gotcha Man. Gotcha Man. Ryan did an undercover video recording the lady at the storage unit busting the last person that was still supporting Ryan. The guy's name on Instagram is Chad Offbeat, but his name is Chad Shepard. Ryan's got people claims he's got people watching him, following him, documenting him through the day, knows who comes to visit Chad and who shows up at his house, who Chad goes to see, tracking his phone calls and movements, just like the craziest shit, dude. And this is the last guy that was still around. Nobody can survive around Ryan. Nobody. And Ryan's full on, the Jews did it all. Adrenochrome. He said, yeah, am I a Nazi? Well, yeah, they're the only people that want to take care of pedophiles. So, yeah, I am. Okay. It's a weird admittance there, Ryan.
Gone. Who's
Chad quit. He's going to prison.
Was it the Chad? Oh, is it? Was it the Chad? I don't know, is it? Was it the Chad? Thought he still worked there. You mean to tell me Chad Shepard don't work there no more?
Epic drunk, bum, he quit, oh shit, bum.
Well, then he has to be charged with something immediately. And I heard the charges are going to be leaving your job, that's a 3rd-degree felony, and purchasing a storage locker in the 1st degree. What a moron.
Chad Shepard does not, like, he's got a nose ring and a bunch of tattoos, shaved head or whatever, But still, he's in the music industry, and he was, helping. He was Ryan's manager after B. Loose left.
Oh, man. And serious question. Who's ever going to want to work for you and do any type of business for you if this is how you act? And
he also fired his tech guy because he found a cell phone that was like 3 years old that he didn't remember. And he said that was them trying to assassinate him.
The things that you do, right? The minute somebody doesn't want to work for you anymore or doesn't want to associate with you anymore, everything that they've done on your behalf, you don't know nothing about.
Nope, not me.
Neither one. Okay.
I don't know nothing about this. The Ace Hardware storage rental, secretly record that poor lady in there dealing with your dumb shit. You were just there for the Butterfingers, though, you fat.
I gotta steal me one of these Butterfingers.
Chad Shepard going to prison. Like, getting you.
For something that doesn't belong to him, that's an LLC. That's illegal.
Let me see. Let me see.
Chad's busted.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Holy shit!
At one point, he even goes
So because Ryan claims that Chad put it under his name, under the umbrella of Music City Magic Man, or whatever Ryan's new company is. It was Upchurch Enterprises, it's not anymore. He's claiming that because he rented it under his name and under the umbrella of the company that Ryan owns that he was working for, that's fraud. Frame up.
so far as to say he got chills about it. He was so excited at the thought of Chad going to prison for renting a storage.
And by the way, the storage unit is only one empty unit and one unit with Ryan's merch in it. That's it.
You know, common charges, common criminal stuff. But for those who haven't caught on yet, for whatever reason, so Chad Shepard, the last man standing over there at the Upchurch camp, has officially...
Ryan, listen to this lie. You'll hear it in a second in the audio. Ryan claims that the police, his local police department, sent him to the storage unit to ask about the storage unit, who rented it, and what was in it. Do the police often ask private citizens to go investigate businesses? Of course fucking not. He's lying. He's lying. They went. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, I'll investigate it myself.
Quit. And Ryan, like he does with everybody else, has went on his investigation spree, trying to figure out how he can get Chad locked up, put in prison, because he just can't stand the thought of somebody quitting for him. It's amazing stuff, guys. And if you've seen his Instagram, he caught Chad dead in the rights in a lie and in some criminal activity by opening up a storage unit under Upchurch Enterprises, which you'll hear in the dumbass's own secret recording of the lady at the storage place saying that he opened it.
It's a hell of a title, for sure.
Inc. or whatever, and it's in Chad's name, but under Music City Magic Man Inc. But this is the thing, right? That's perfectly normal behavior. She even says at one point in this video,
like, okay, imagine I work for Nolichucky Gorge Campground, right? I'm the maintenance guy there. Imagine I go rent a storage locker for our lawnmower, right? Or for our tools. And I rent it, I've signed my name, William Byrd, as representative for Nolichucky Gorge Campground. That's not fraud, right? Especially the guy isn't, Ryan's getting billed for it because it's his company, but he's not even storing his own personal shit there. It's literally Ryan's shit, merch and equipment.
Video that is very common for people to come and open storage units for artists on their behalf because the artists themselves don't want to be there and they don't want their name attached to it, that sort of thing. And this guy, I mean, just full-blown idiot. But
the lady tells him that, oh, yeah, we have, people that have like a little bit of notoriety or, don't want people showing up. They often have somebody come rent it for them and keep it out of their name and shit. So every time you go to your storage unit, you don't have to be worried that there's going to be a crowd of people here waiting for autographs.
Let's listen to his secret recording, and I'll pop in and give my 2 cents. You know how I do.
We figure out what old Chad's done.
Okay.
How long have you had the storage unit?
Can't believe my internet is not working. We rented it. We rented both of them. September 5th of 25.
Okay. September 5th, 25. Can I see your pen?
Sure.
All right, a couple things real quick. Number one, can I see your pen? What kind of investigator doesn't have his own ink pen, man? Come on, dude. If you're going to be super narc, you got to have your own ink pen, dog. You can't be in there borrowing pens from the Ace Hardware lady. Super narc. You really are something like a superhero nowadays. You guys have heard of Fart, right?
Fuck niggas here to save the day!
Yeah, Ryan Upchurch is super narc. All right, second thing real quick. And I'm about to send this idiot down another rabbit hole, and I think it's hilarious. That storage unit was open on September 5th, 2025.
Yes.
September 5th of 25.
Well, that just so happens to be A-Cal's birthday.
Oh, my God. Adam Calhoun's birthday is arch nemesis.
That's a form of identity fraud.
So that's your actual address, I'm assuming. I can't get in there.
Form of identity fraud. That's wild. This dude loves the program. Some wild terms, man. There's going to become a point where nobody's even going to want to go and get you a carton of eggs and a gallon of milk.
In Ryan's head, he's probably already figured out how Jelly Roll is going to plant a bunch of drugs and, you know, tiny little Vietnamese girls, children, in that storage unit and then call the cops because it's under Ryan's name or something.
Because God forbid they tell the cashier at the grocery store, yeah, I'm getting this from Ryan. He's going to be like, man, that's identity fraud. I never authorized a gallon of it. Was it 2%? Yeah, lock him up, throw away the key. I mean, how's it identity fraud for your acting manager to walk into a storage unit, rental office, and say, hey, I want to rent 2 storage lockers under my name with the umbrella of Music City Magic, Inc., whatever. How's that identity fraud? That sounds to me like your manager doing his job.
It would have been worse if he would have said under Ryan's name and signed Ryan's name. But Brennan, as the manager, as a representative of the company for the company, there's nothing wrong here. Ryan's just mad because he quit his job. So now he's trying to figure out some way to put him in jail with Jelly Roll and Adam Calhoun and everybody else.
And also you just tweaking and bugging out like you always do. Identity fraud is a wild thing to say, dude. You don't even know who you are, so I get it. You got an identity crisis right now. Some millionaires spend their days on the beach, kick back, drinking pina coladas. This guy at the Ace Hardware rental office eating Butterfinger, trying to be an investigator.
Yeah, so it's Chad at Music City Magic Inc. is who rented it.
Muted the phone number because Ryan didn't.
Pick up my address.
Yep.
Yeah, you are correct, fat boy. He put your address. Now put your investigator cap on just a little bit tighter and think about that for a second. Now, does that sound like a manager opening up a storage unit for his client and putting his address on it in the name of his new Music City Magic company? Or does that sound like somebody doing something nefarious and trying to hide it behind your back? Borrow that lady's pen again and take notes, idiot.
We're trying to figure out what this guy's doing because I've never been here before, and there's apparently 2 storage units in my name somehow.
Well, you know the old saying, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, to a super narc, everything looks like a crime. But they just got done explaining to you that your manager, Chad Shepard, which for a second you didn't believe was even his last name, you went full Scooby-Doo on that. They said, well, what's his last name so we can just put it fully in his name? I'm supposed to be Shepard. I haven't pulled the mask off yet.
Get a hold of him and have him put it in his name. Do you know his last name? So I can put it in his name.
It's supposed to be Shepard.
But they clearly told you that your manager opened up a storage unit to put your merch and tour equipment in, and you didn't want to hear that. You wanted to hear what crime is he committing down here so that I could bust him for it. So if he doesn't want to be friends with me, he can sit in prison. I mean, am I far off? I don't think I am.
Do you know what he was moving out of it? Because the cops have sent me down here to see if y'all know what he was moving out of it.
The cops have sent me down here. The cops have sent me down here to see if you know what he was removing from his storage unit. That sounds real.
Supposedly merchandise.
But the other one has merchandise, correct?
They're both supposed to.
Lies, Dr. J. You only give me maybe 80% of your time, and the other 20% of your time you devote to your family. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, for the 15th time, it was merchandise, dummy. And I know you didn't just say that the cops sent you down there.
But the cops have sent me down here to see if y'all know what he was moving out of it.
Oh my God. Did you get your junior deputy badge? Are you already on the force? They sent you on your first mission. Ain't no way the cops sent you anywhere to do an investigation. They just wanted you to get out of the station. Well, hey, Ryan, if you think you committed a crime, you go down there, super narc.
The day he came,
It was a lot of boxes.
The day he came in, he gave me cash. Okay. Because they were behind. Okay. And he told me all the credit. They told me there was a problem with all the bank accounts and credit cards, and so all that was getting fixed, and he would bring.
So even Chad told him, you guys remember when Ryan froze all his cards and shut down his banks and was hopping around? Chad's like, yeah, I'm going to have to pay cash right now. There's an issue with our bank, but I'll come back with the card so you can put it on file.
Bring another card in for us to put on file, but in the meantime, he came back the next day and gave me cash to pay because the units had gotten behind like 2 or 3 months. So we got him caught up, and I moved him out of the one, and he said, one of them's empty. He said, we've got 2, one of them's empty, and I walked out there, and it was empty. So there was nothing in one of them.
Okay. See, because the thing is, he told the cops that he didn't come down here, and I'm like, Ace Storage is not going to.
That's not true. He told the cops that he didn't take nothing from there. Of course, he's not going to lie and say, I didn't open them. I've never been there. I've never even heard of this place. He didn't take anything from there when he quit.
A lie about who came down there.
Well, it was a guy. Was it him?
It was Chip.
A fat tattoo guy.
Tattoos everywhere.
Yeah,
that's him.
Yeah.
Fat tattoo guy. That's rich coming from you, isn't it? While you're standing there eating all their Butterfingers and their glass control.
Fat white guy. Yeah, Ryan.
In the front of the Ace Hardware. But look, man, it all lines up. I mean, they just said, hey, there was problems with the cars, just trying to get the accounts fixed, and that matches exactly what this idiot's been rambling about for the last 6 months, how he shuts down this bank and this bank because he thinks everybody's trying to get him for fraud, and he's super paranoid. That all matches up. And Chad didn't say to the police that he never opened the storage unit. He he said that he didn't go and empty the storage unit, which also the lady at the place backs him up and says exactly that. You tried to get her to say something else, but she...
So the lady says that the person who actually took the stuff out of the storage unit, the lady that took the person who took the stuff out of the storage unit was a skinny guy, not Chad. Chad's a big guy.
Wasn't going for it. You trying to feed her blonde haired little kitty guy? Nah, she wasn't going for it.
And then it was empty, and I was like, well, there goes a lot of trouble. But yeah, it's Chad Shepard.
Emptied unit over 1 month ago, and this motherfucker is saying he didn't come here.
I don't know that it was him.
Huh?
I don't think it was him that was driving the truck. It looked like somebody like...
It wasn't that guy. That's what I'm saying. This motherfucker's telling the cops he didn't come here. Well, it wasn't him. It was a different guy.
Real thin-faced that was driving.
A little bitty skinny dude?
Real skinny. It wasn't the guy driving.
With blonde hair?
I don't know. It was from here to there.
Imagine putting this online and being excited, thinking that you actually solved some sort of a case, and thinking that, man, wait till everybody hears this. They're not going to believe the investigation skills I got.
So basically, Ryan's misplaced something else, and he's blaming everybody else.
So burned, man.
I'm being serious, Will. Once published, you can begin... Sorry. Oh, shit. Once published, you can begin his next TikTok vid series. I'd buy it. You've closely watched everything. Made a great story. Yeah, for sure.
Burn. Cooked to the core. You need to focus on making music and getting your shit together.
I do think there will be a ton of books about the QAnon, about the Trump, about the brainwashing, about the boomers, about... God, there's just so much to talk about. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it.
Trying to mend some of these relationships. Instead, you just keep burning more and more bridges. And I'm serious when I say nobody's going to want to do business for you anymore. And my whole point of making this video was simple. It's another blatant lie to put on your Instagram story. Hey, I caught Chad opening up a storage unit under Upchurch Enterprises. I don't know where Upchurch...
The employee who quit earlier today also used his photo ID and phone number to open 2 storage units in Ashland City under Upchurch Enterprises. That's not true. Under Music City Magic Man or whatever. Without my knowledge, and was getting invoice receipts to his email.
Got inserted in this. You probably fed it to that lady as the reason she kept saying it back to you. But clearly, you can hear the point where she finds the original account and the information when it was open. And she says, Chad Shepard, Music City Magic Inc., and the phone number and address right after that. But you want it to be something else so bad you can't stand it, man. But just a month ago, Chad was the main, right? He was the only solid skin left, man. All these other people, they're fake and false and phony and illegal. And you and Chad were working together to bust A-Cal, Just in Time, Jelly Roll, and now all of a sudden Chad Shepard's just your average everyday criminal because he quit. That's all you gotta do is quit for this guy. And you imagine nobody's ever gonna want to work for this idiot ever again, man. But yeah, dude, what do you think about Chad Shepard opening that storage unit on A-Cal's birthday? You'll get to the bottom of this again.
So Ryan's really, really fucking losing it. The last guy that was stuck with him, gone now, out, not coming back, done, dude. Chad Shepard is now not with Ryan anymore. So there you go. We got some FPV footage. I can't believe that we're not using netting or tarps or the camouflage netting that everybody has in the Connex and anything to protect our equipment. They hit a helo. This is all at Camp Liberty. They hit a helo. They hit a radar station. Yes, we do still have troops at Camp Liberty in Iraq, but here you go. Here's some footage. Iranian.
Because
these are
decides to surge.
Sorry, these are Iraqi militias under the same umbrella religion, funded and backed by Iran. Using FPV drones.
Is in the war where Iranian FPV drones are striking American equipment at bases in Iraq. We also had a 30-day ceasefire proposed by the United States yesterday that Iran overnight seems to have rejected. Now, starting out with this clip that was released by Iranian-backed Iraqi Shia militias, shows a number of FPV drone strikes in Camp.
So that's a radar station.
Liberty, Iraq. And what you're going to see in this video is an AN/MPQ-64 Sentinel radar.
And this one comes over here and finds a helo.
The UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter, medevac helicopter, actually. Now,
these motherfuckers blur the red cross on the side of the medevac helicopter here.
Is a base that used to have
a UH-60, a couple of them.
A massive U.S. presence. It's been significantly dialed down, but we do still have a presence there.
So, see that blur that just come into frame? What was that before they blurred it? Before they put the blur up there, what was that? That was weird how they put a blur on there. It's a big red and white cross. That's a medevac I mean, it's not doing its duties right now, but it's a matter of fact helicopter.
There. And from my understanding, the Iraqis don't fly Black Hawk helicopters. They fly Bell 12s and Mi-8s. That actually looks like a medevac helicopter with, it looks like the militia tried to blur out the fact that there was a Red Cross on this side. But either way, what this is pointing to is that our forces are vulnerable everywhere. It still does not look like we have taken the FPV threat seriously. Unfortunately, we've had 4 years to figure this out, but we still have helicopters, expensive helicopters, sitting out in the open, radar sitting out unprotected. Personally, I'm not convinced that, based off the footage that we've seen, that we have taken the adequate defensive measures.
I think Iran made an announcement today that the strait is closed to U.S. and Israeli ships, but everybody else can pay a fee to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
To protect.
If I heard that right, I heard it in audio form.
One of the concerns here is that if Iran
2 million or so
capability quickly, and we know they have it, right? There was a picture that came out earlier today, supposedly of an Iranian soldier on Karg Island showing an FPV drone. We know Iran has FPVs.
How many drones they have with fiber optic wire is what, because we can jam the fuck out of drone signals, right? How many do they have, like they have to use in Ukraine now, with fiber optic wire?
All right, not a surprise at all. The question is going to be how many fiber optic FPVs
there you go.
Out to what range? That's the real question. How many of what type? Not do they have them at all? And we've got this weird mindset that I've been able to pick up, that I've noticed recently, where so long as we do not deploy.
That's true as well. As long as you have battery capacity, that fiber optic wire, your range is basically as long as your wire. You don't have to worry about the radio signal failing. Like when I fly my FPV drones, right? If I'm far away, I got to be real careful about even going behind like a wall or anything. If I'm close, it doesn't matter. The frequency, the radio waves go through it. But if I'm far away, like a tree or a wall or a car or anything may drop the signal out, right? The drone just fall out of the sky. But with fiber optic, you're not worried about the signal anymore. Now you're just worried about how big your battery is. You go as far, and there is no return trip, right? You're going to fucking blow some shit up, so you don't have to worry about the battery coming back.
Deploy troops into Iran, they aren't actually going to be at risk of being hit by these drones. That could be further from the truth. Look at Operation Spiderweb, where Ukrainian drone operators in the SBU took out a number of Russian strategic aircraft deep inside of Russia at their military.
I've thought about writing before on different topics and trying to publish a book.
Airfields. This video that we're playing here is in Baghdad. Right, that's a base where the U.S. has had a footprint for a long time now. Every U.S. military installation around the world is at risk of these FPVs, and video after video that we're seeing this shows that nets are not going up, fencing is not going up in some of these areas. It's hard to see that we're adequately prepared, and this is going to be a problem because if Iran decides to surge this threat in the near term to a number of our bases throughout the region, diplomatic facilities, our embassies, they could do a lot of damage before we actually catch on and start implementing viable defensive measures. Now, this comes as just yesterday, President Trump announced that we had actually won the war, which was followed shortly thereafter with a discussion about a 30-day ceasefire that it looks like Iran rejected. But here's President Trump yesterday saying that we did it. That's it. We won.
We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country.
Now, the president says a lot of stuff like this, but we're kind of balancing this with, I'm hearing folks say, we need to be patient. War takes a long time, and they're correct. But we've also got the head of state here regularly. I mean, this is like the third or fourth time that he has said we've already achieved all of our objectives. We've already won. It's basically over. So that is what is kind of expedited.
The bouncing back and forth is bothering me, and I think everybody else. Like, we need help. We don't need help. Where are allies? Why aren't they doing it? The strait's open. The strait's closed. They won't close the strait. We're attacking the power plants. No, we're not. Now we got to pause. Now we got to ceasefire. Now we're going to attack again. We already destroyed their nuclear weapons. Oh, well, they dug them back out. Like, it's just crazy.
It's kind of pushing along expectations, having the American people say, well, the president says it's over. Shouldn't we expect some sort of immediate result? And it's not there yet. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. In fact, yesterday, there's rumors started coming out that there was a ceasefire proposed from the United States to Iran.
Uh-oh. Thank you for the follow.
For 30 days. And
heard something
you got to take this with a big grain of salt because, first off, President Trump was speaking at the time that this supposedly came out. He didn't say anything of it, which is not very much like him. You think that he would want to announce some big progress like this. But shortly after he wrapped up his remarks, we got this leak of a 15-point peace plan sent to Iran to end the war. Now, in the plan, by and large, it's what we saw at the beginning of the conflict with the United States.
A ceasefire for 1 month, expanding the nuclear capabilities that Iran has accumulated, Iran's commitment to never pursue the possession of a nuclear weapon, halting any enrichment of nuclear materials on Iranian territory, handing over all enriched materials to the International Atomic Energy Agency according to an agreed timetable, taking the Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordow facilities out of service and destroying them, granting the International Atomic Energy Agency full access to all information inside Iran, Iran abandoning its proxy strategy in the region, effectively halting the funding and arming of those proxies, ensuring that the Strait of Hormuz remains open as a free maritime passage. By the way, reporters caught him the other day, and they're like, it might mean that, somebody has to always direct, be in charge of the traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. And they're like, the reporter's like, who would do that? And they're like, well, me, Trump. Trump is going to be in charge of who can use and who can't use the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, and maybe the leader of Iran, whoever leads it. What? Addressing the issue of Iranian missiles at a later stage with limits on quantity and range, restricting Iran's military capabilities to self-defense purposes only, lifting all sanctions imposed on Iran, providing support for the development of a civilian nuclear project in Bushehr to generate electricity, abolishing the snapback mechanism for the automatic reimposition of sanctions. This is just the U.S.'s wish list. This is not negotiation, but whatever.
It's argued for a long time. No ability to enrich uranium. So we've taken that a bit further. Enriched uranium would be removed. Talking about standing down their missile program. A lot of different things like that. But a few stood out to me here. One of them was that Iran will abandon their proxy network. Another was that the missile program would be dealt with at a later time. And then another was that all sanctions would be lifted. Those are unique, right? So the proxy program would essentially be the complete defanging of the Iranian regime and the IRGC as we know it today. That, I agree, would be a good thing. It's hard to see that the IRGC is in a spot right now where they would voluntarily give up that capability. The idea of kicking the missile program down the road doesn't seem good. That's very clearly been a threat to the United States and our Gulf allies. And all sanctions being lifted is not something that seems to have been on the table during the talks leading up to this war. So that's a new aspect that Iran has pushed for a long time. And seems like it's probably going to have to be something in a negotiated settlement. There's probably going to need to be a little bit of some sort of incentive, and to help the Iranian nation stand back up after this war is over, that probably would come in the form of sanctions relief. Now, the Iranian leadership right out the gate said, what are you talking about? This is dead on arrival. I mean, they are standing with the claim that nobody is even talking to the United States at baseline, but we've got a mixture of denials coming out over the past 12 hours. Iranian Press TV said the Islamic Republic of Iran insists on the fulfillment of its strategic objectives in confronting the hostile threat. Only if those objectives are achieved would an end to the war, not merely a ceasefire, be possible. So in that stance, kind of drawing the hard line and talking the talk, right? They're saying, no, we are not on board with any sort of ceasefire. This is actually very similar to what Putin says in negotiations there. He says, ceasefire, that's not what we're talking about. We don't want short-term solution. We want a long-term resolution, right? A complete resolution. They're saying they need to complete their strategic objectives first, as in they've still got a lot of work to do. It's talking the talk, no doubt. The Iranian foreign minister said, quote, we made it clear yesterday, there are no talks, no negotiations between Iran and the United States. We've had a very catastrophic experience, I should say, of the U.S. diplomacy. And look, to his credit, twice now in the last 9 months, there have been ongoing talks between the United States and Iran when we have initiated military action against Iran. If you just put yourself in their shoes with that.
The Doe Show, was that from back in the, yeah, I guess it was from back in the protests and shit.
That aspect alone, you have to wonder what it would take, what form of pain the Iranian regime would need to feel to say this time that wouldn't happen. This time we actually will be able to come to some sort of agree settlement. The foreign minister spokesperson said there's been no contact between Iran and the United States in the past 24 hours, and Iranian armed forces continue to defend the country's territorial integrity. Our position is clear. We continue to defend ourselves. And just a few moments before recording, Reuters actually reported that there is no date and no location for possible U.S.-Iran talks. No venue, excuse me. It sounds like they're supposed to happen in Pakistan, but according to Pakistani officials, they don't have a date yet. They don't have a location inside of Pakistan. So concept of a plan for those talks. And one of the arguments as to why we keep hearing for the last couple days that talks are going well, as President Trump likes to say, and Iran wants to make a deal, and we're moving towards some sort of negotiated settlement, is it might just be killing time for more U.S. assets to arrive in the region. In fact, just yesterday, the New York Times reported that the Pentagon has ordered around 2,000 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division to begin moving to the Middle East in order to give President Trump additional military options, even as he weighs a new diplomatic initiative with Iran. So we have troops on the way. We know we have one amphibious ready group with the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit set to arrive in theater sometime in the next 2 to 4 days. A lot of talking heads on the news channels talking about how taking Harg Island is what we need to do. That would be the first step in opening the Strait of Hormuz, and that seems more and more like what's in the cards. Military force to open the strait, occupy territory either in Iran or on the islands just off the coast of Iran, and have a significant military presence there to allow and facilitate commercial vessels to move.
Holy fuck, they paid out Mike Flynn. They paid Mike Flynn $1.25 million settlement for the DOJ after lying to the FBI.
Move through the strait. Now, throughout all of this, U.S. and Israeli strikes are continuing. We just got a notification a little bit ago that the U.S. and Israel have now passed 12,000 strikes carried out inside of Iran since the war began. U.S. Central Command put out their statistics saying more than 9,000 targets have been hit. Israel, for their part, says more than 3,000. We don't have a lot of detail on these reports at this point. So a lot of kind of very big picture, very broad statements. I'll show you here what we have from CENTCOM. Of course, we got the occasional strike footage of something getting blown up. But then there, in terms of kind of the roll-up, the battle damage assessment, it's pretty vague, right? So we've got a number of targets struck. I think it's 140 some vessels that have been sunk. But outside of that, they just have a list of the types of targets they've gone after and the types of U.S. assets that have so far been used in this campaign. So not a ton of detail when it comes to the publicly available battle damage assessments there. And this actually leads into an interesting assessment from former General Stanley McChrystal, who did an interview in the New York Times just yesterday. And I want to stress, we're starting to hear some pushback from senior U.S. officials from recent conflicts. We've got General McChrystal, now General Mattis, who quoted in yesterday's video, talking about how there's not any good options for the United States at this point. I want to say General Petraeus as well spoke out about how challenging it's going to be to open the Strait of Hormuz. So we do have a number of former military officials starting to kind of beat the drum of, hey, this is going to be really hard. We need to understand what we're getting into here. In his New York Times interview, he talked about the seduction of air power to want to win all wars. And you can see how this plays.
Basically, we got to have boots on the ground is what the generals are saying. Now, who knows what the fuck Trump's saying? He's a fucking reality TV star. So
out. I feel like that's probably the thought process for some senior leadership at the beginning of this campaign. Right? I mean, we fast forward, all of a sudden here we are talking about the viability or where Marines are going to go versus the 82nd and where Special Operations Forces are going to land inside of Iran to seize the enriched uranium. At the beginning of this conflict, there was no discussion about boots on the ground. Over and over, it was stressed like, no. I mean, we're not going to take anything off the table, but this is an air campaign. Right? And that's largely because the American people have been, for the most part, opposed to putting U.S. forces on the ground in the Middle East. General McChrystal said, quote, "We entered Iraq in 2003 with shock and awe, and then we spent a decade there fighting after it. I think in this case, we again fell for the seduction that if we bomb key targets, we will produce the outcome that we want. But the outcome's in the minds of the people. And unless you're going to kill all of the people, you may not affect that outcome. We may be at the point where we've run into a country that has an extraordinary capacity to be bombed." Again, this brings us back to what I think is a viable conversation to be having all day, every day, anytime the United States is engaged in military conflict, is are we doing what's necessary to match the strategic success to the tactical victories to strategic success? Our military is incredible. They're able to put bombs anywhere they want on bad guys around the world 24/7. We know that. That's not a surprise. The error we have had, in my lifetime at least, throughout the global war on terror, is matching those battlefield wins, one after the other, complete dominance over enemy forces with the strategic victory. So those battles are actually won for a good reason, other than just killing some bad guys and hoping that the next day turns out better. So a little bit of pushback here from General McChrystal, getting concerned that we might be again falling for that trap that air power can solve everything. But of course, we'll have that article and all the sources listed in today's video linked in the description below, along with a link over to Substack. We're actually moving up over there. We're like number 6 in the category right now for growing channels on Substack. What we're doing there is that kind of consolidation of content, right? So it's got all of the short form, all of the long form, all of the interviews, all of the pictures, all of the podcasts, all of the links, all of the research that I do day to day is going into that platform. So it's kind of one place where it's all going to be consolidated, and all of that is free. The only thing that we have a paywall for is the ability to start new chats in the community chat. So if interested, I think it's a really good platform. I think it's pretty impressive how far it's come in the last couple of years. So if you're on that platform, check it out. If you haven't been over to Substack in a while, give it a look. I think it's pretty worthwhile at this point. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
I don't know that you win without boots on the ground, unless you just declare a win, right? Bullshit like, okay, here we go. We won. They're backing down. Let's see what, real quick while we're on this channel, let's see what he's saying about the Russia invasion. By the way, Ukraine said, nope, fuck Trump. So basically, Trump lifted temporary sanctions on Russian oil to ease oil prices while he's fucking around in Iran, fucking shit up, right? As soon as he did that, Ukraine started attacking Russian oil storage and infrastructure. That Ukraine has destroyed the ability for Russia to move 40% of its oil stockpile, has destroyed either the oil or their ability to move it. And is like, no, fuck them. They're just going to use all that money to attack us. Remember, we're enemies. You're supposed to be on our side, Trump.
So Russia,
see what they're doing in the Donbass.
If they ever plan to take the Donbass, they have 3 options. 1, throw everything they have into an attack, a plan that he said could take 5 years. 2, go on the defense and hope to wear Ukraine down over time. Or 3, start launching nukes. So, yeah, seems like everything is going according to plan in Russia. Let's get into it. Now, this was an assessment posted earlier today by Fighter Bomber, that is a Russian mill blogger or war correspondent, one of the largest accounts in Russia that's been tracking the war since day one and has a lot of connections across the military. He said, quote, "We still have to liberate 15% of Donetsk, and then Donbass will be liberated. In my opinion, we have three main ways to do this. The first is to continue a creeping offensive with varying success, regardless of the losses, which will, to put it mildly, be very significant. Judging by the current slow pace, this will take at least 5 years. It could be accelerated somewhat by sending all of our remaining military equipment and aircraft into battle, but if not done wisely and intelligently, it would result in similar heavy losses in personnel as well as additional losses in equipment. If we can pause real quick, we're 4 years into this war when it looked like Ukraine was going to topple in days, weeks, or months. And now we've got Russian analysts saying if only they can, prioritize this one area of the front and surge the entire Russian military, everything they have at the Donetsk front, maybe in 5 years, with heavy losses, they would be able to take that remaining territory. Did you catch that? That's wild. Now, we know that it would include heavy losses because we've seen an uptick in some of these larger Russian assaults in recent weeks. And as expected, those tanks, BMPs, motorcycles, or just infantry are getting destroyed well before they even reach the line of contact. In fact, just a couple days ago, the Ukrainian Third Army said they stopped the largest Russian attack in months. Quote, on March 19th, the enemy launched the largest attempt at a breakthrough in the Liman-Severodonetsk direction. The Russian army deployed forces from the 1st Tank and 20th General Army of the Russian Federation, but the enemy began to suffer losses before reaching the contact line. They say they attacked simultaneously on 7 directions in the core sector and deployed over 500 infantry, 28 units of armored vehicles, and more than 100 units of motor vehicles, buggies, and quads. Within 4 hours, the Third Corps turned the Russian breakthrough into a massive failure. They say as a result of this attack, Russia lost 84 motor vehicles, including 11 BMPs and BTRs, 3 tanks, a heavy TOS flamethrower, 5 guns, and over 160 UAVs. We've started to see an uptick in this because Russia has seen what happens when they send individual infantry forward. So we're starting to see more amassing of armor and mechanized or just wheeled assaults, right? ATVs or motorcycles. In this case, the Third Army watched them stage for this assault and was able to wait them out. And as soon as they entered the open, just laid waste to this entire Russian assault. Brigadier General Belitsky, the commander of the Ukrainian Third Corps, said, quote, for a month and a half, we observed signs of preparations for an offensive. The Russians intensified their attacks with mortars on our crossings across the Oskil River, trying to cut off logistics. They began to set up their own pontoon crossings and clear routes. This directly indicated preparations for a large-scale mechanized offensive. We were preparing. Defensive actions were practiced in different directions, and each brigade had its own plan for repelling an attack. The Corps coordinated these actions, and as a result, the attacks were thwarted on all directions. That's another argument for the creation of these Corps-sized elements. Belitsky used to be the commander of the Ukrainian 3rd Assault Brigade. He was promoted to the 3rd Army Corps, and it ties in multiple units in one direction for this exact type of coordinated attack, or in this case, coordinated defense. They say over the course of the day, the brigades and regiments of the 3rd Army Corps destroyed 405 enemy soldiers. 288 were killed and the rest were casualties. They say the Russian army failed to capture either settlements or positions, adding that the destruction of the remnants of the living forces that managed to survive continues, as in they are continuing to hunt down the infantry that managed to survive in that attack. It's not a lot. If 450 were seriously wounded or 405 were seriously wounded or killed of the initial 500. So that's option number 1. Large-scale attack, mass forces. In this case, Ukraine saw them coming, inflicted significant casualties. The second option, going back to fighter bomber, quote, is to switch to a defensive position, dig in and start destroying enemy personnel and other targets until they run out of them, or we run out of personnel and weapons. This option has no time limit and could go on.
If Russia Russia can't back down, right? Could you imagine millions of young, angry, a lot of these soldiers are being super mistreated, okay? What were some of the where did I hear some of those stories? People on the front line, like basically crossing these areas like no man's land. You either try to run and get across with, a gallon of gas or whatever they need, ammo, or they'll shoot you on the spot. They're stripping soldiers naked and whipping them for refusing to go out in these areas and be killed by drones. They're killing their own soldiers. So these people with all this shit going on in their head, some of it's been literal hand-to-hand combat. They're young, They're angry, they're armed, they've got mental health issues, and millions of them flood back in to Russia after a win or a loss, right? Russia's economy's fucked. Russia's jobs are fucked. Russia's leadership's fucked, you know, and Putin's sitting on his golden throne. What do you think's going to happen? They've created their own fucking revolution. They need the meat grinder to keep going. They need to grind some meat before it comes back home and comes after fucking Putin.
On indefinitely. However, judging by this trend, the enemy is increasing its attacks on our rear, expanding both the number and radius of its strikes. And if the time goes on indefinitely, the losses in personnel will either be the same or even greater than in the first option. Now, if we can just pause and reflect on that for a second. So what Fighter Bomber is saying is that if Russia decides to just dig in and try to hold on to this territory right now, that could be as costly, if not more, than going on the offensive, and we've seen the losses sustained when they do that. Now, the reason for that is twofold. One, we are seeing Ukraine cut off the front with these medium-range strikes. Second, they're taking deliberate offensive clearance actions against some of these Russian positions near the line of contact. Now, starting with those medium-range strikes, what they've done is we know...
Just remember where we're at right here. Let me grab this. Copy link address. So, Liz, imagine these soldiers right here coming home, okay? And what type of mentality they're going to do. When they get home, they have no money, they have no food, they can't afford a house, they can't afford a car, they can't afford gas, they can't do anything but watch their fucking lives fall apart when they get home. We have enough of this with U.S. veterans that came back home, like me, Iraq and Afghanistan, okay? But at least they try to placate us and give us fancy phones and shit and stuff to keep our mind busy. Imagine having nothing and everything's falling apart. I'm already at that point in the U.S. over trying to buy a fucking house. Imagine doing it in Soviet Russia.
Противник, он впереди у тебя. Враг, он за спиной у тебя, твое командование. Это было... Это мясная фабрика. Мотивации у людей нет воевать. И как бы, идти страшно. Они должны сделать, чтобы было страшнее отказаться, чем идти туда напередок. Никакой жалости, жестокость там вообще очень.
Very cruel, no pity.
Пытается сбежать.
Anyone who runs away, gives up, or drops their gun is shot.
Уйти назад, бросает оружие.
Drops their gun is shot.
Сразу расстреливают и...
Anyone who runs away, gives up, or drops their gun is shot.
Такие видео есть в Телеграме.
We've seen some of these on Telegram of them torturing basically soldiers for not wanting to cross a fucking, 25-yard or 25-mile dead man zone. Like, if you cross this, a drone comes out and blows you the fuck up.
Там все зависело от командира. Командир сидит по рации.
How much does it take before these soldiers who heavily outnumber command rise up against their commanders? Commanders on the radio, 0 this one, 0 that one.
Этого обнулить, этому красную карточку.
Вот ты сам это видел?
На мониторе, да, я это все видел. Тоже я все это видел.
At the command post.
Трансляции, по которой велась из штаба.
Did you see somebody get shot in front of you?
Yes, I see just 2 meters, 3 meters. Just murders, just click like bam. It's all. It's not a drama. It's not a
making them dig their own graves and then assassinating over top of it. Just crazy stuff.
Movie. It's a real life. First officer call to commander, Tiger. This soldier cancel order and Tiger say обнулить его. Kill him.
Разрешите представиться. Мой позывной Азит, наш командир батальона. Несколько дней.
A few days ago, our commander began to zero us, kill him off for refusing to do what he wanted.
Назад начал обнулять наших бойцов. В данный момент нас осталось мало. По ту сторону, которые долбят по нам день и ночь, а по ту сторону Наши же, которые хотят нас всех обнулить.
Обнуляют людей, да, конечно. Просто обычное дело. Все.
Видишь, это для тебя обычное дело, для нас это как бы не совсем обычное дело.
Да. В февраль к нам привозят машину 20 человек. А это были зэки. У них просто собирают карты, убивают их.
They took their bank cards and just killed them.
Они забрали карты и обнулили. Это почти невозможно для нас.
Это обычное дело. 200 тысяч зарплата там просто рядового бойца. 4 миллиона рублей. То есть это не проблема там кого-то или что-то списать. Это делается по рапорту. Все.
Расскажи, кто?
Командир отряда.
Несколько доказательств.
Нет, конечно. А какие доказательства? Вот вы считаете, что ты там ходишь, все снимаешь, записываешь, а потом еще это и вывозишь, да? Весь вот этот беспредел, он только...
They've got a revolution on their hands unless they do something drastic.
Там происходит все, что угодно. Там многое можно.
They're going to be angry about the war. They're going to be angry they're forced to fight these people. They're going to be angry about the death, about the destruction, about the economy, about the way their families suffered while they were gone. They're going to be angry about everything.
Я видел из окна штаба, как командир расстреливал людей.
There's an entire task force within the U.S. government that is literally like to predict and prevent the U.S. veterans who are not treated nearly this bad overseas from going crazy and fucking starting some shit.
Людей. Получается, некоторые пытались сбежать, они в городе напились, их поймали. Он забегает прямо на яму, ну что, или вы идете на передовую, или я прямо вас здесь обнуляю. Командир говорит. Там их сидело трое.
Go to the front or I'll kill you. There were two of them. There were three of them. Two said okay.
Сказали, мы пойдем на передовую.
Last said no.
Куда не пойду. Он говорит, заряжает, первый выстрел, он делает воздух. Пойдешь на передовую? Нет. И прямо ему.
He shot in the air and then said, will you go to the front? The guy said no. He put a pistol on him and shot him in the forehead.
Как ты это видел? Как?
Да, это...
You saw it? Yeah, I saw it.
У нас были окна в черном.
Our windows were blacked out.
Эти углы. Я вот так стоял и смотрел.
I was standing like this and watching. How many people did you see get zeroed?
В общем,
4 in total.
Обнулили 4 человека. Одного в Пантелеймоновке и 3 в Новоазовске.
Знал этих солдат?
Конечно, я знал. Самое что вот и обидное, что знал.
Saddest thing is that I knew them.
Я слышал, как один ревел.
I remember one of them screaming,
не надо,
don't shoot.
Стреляйте. Я все сделаю.
I'll do anything. There's even been reports of like fucking rape and sodomy and shit on they'll tie them up to a tree because they don't want to go across the front. Nobody wants to go across the front. Even the soldiers that are participating in this, they don't want to cross the front. It's not like they're just being pussies. Nobody wants to do it. So they pick the one they like the least. And then, of course, he's going to try to stand up. It's either that or die by drone, basically.
Его не оставили, все равно обнулили.
We watched a video the other day about how they were extending this. So there's like Ukraine and their people, then the Ukrainian front line. Then there's the Russian front line. Then there's a big gap where their ammo, food, water, everything, all their supplies are, right? And that's the gap between Russia's frontline fighters who are entrenched or whatever and all of their supplies. So they've given up on vehicles, right? They can't get them anywhere without a drone strike. And they just have people carrying shit. But what the fuck are you going to do for 10 goddamn miles or whatever? You know what I mean? Walking, carrying ammo to your guys, and you just hear a drone come out of nowhere. There's nowhere to hide. There's no hole to get in. There's no buildings.
Приходишь в этот штаб утром работать, сидишь, трясешь, что-то думаешь, останешься ты живой в этот день, не останешься, застрелят, не застрелят.
The Russian government says its armed forces operate with the utmost restraint. Now imagine those people coming home. They're not going to be happy about anything.
They will actually look at you.
Wrong video.
No matter.
Ukraine has been carrying out deep strikes, say Russian oil refineries, airfields, things like that. And then you have the close-in strikes near the line of contact. We'll call that within 5 to 10 kilometers of the front. A lot of FPVs, a lot of bombers, things like that. Ukraine has focused in the last few months on cutting off that middle ground. So we'll call it 15 to 100, roughly, kilometers from the line of contact. You saw what that does in the Third Army video a second ago. Russia can't even get large elements anywhere near the front, let alone to the actual Ukrainian positions. That has also shut down the supply lines and made it very hard for Russian soldiers to move forward, to move their wounded out, or to resupply anyone that's trying to advance towards the Ukrainian lines. Now, one of the weapon systems that they're using to do that is the Lightning drone. This is kind of a mid-range strike drone. And the idea here is that it's a fixed-wing platform, very inexpensive, very easy to launch. We got a launch video of that going here. But it carries a much bigger payload than an FPV. So we've actually got a couple of videos of these being used in Ukraine right now, and you can see they're relatively slow moving, right? There's not a lot of speed to these things, but it is a big boom, able to take out relatively hardened targets. Again, kind of in the range that you would expect for artillery. That 15 to 25 kilometer range is where artillery would have focused. Right now they can't, because drones are taking out the artillery pieces, which leads us to the quick fundraiser update here. We're working with the 26th Artillery Brigade to purchase some of these Lightning strike drones. And the reason for this is, again, as the artillery gets pushed out of the limit of its range for cannon artillery, which call it 15 to 20 kilometers roughly, a lot of the artillerymen are retraining in these new platforms. And we're working to help out the 26th with these specific Lightning drones. We're almost there, $42,000 of a $50,000 goal.
I like that he does these fundraisers.
For those interested and able, we'll have that link in the description and pinned comment below. But it is not just the medium range strikes that is cutting off the front. As Ukraine is doing that, we are seeing more and more deliberate raids, very well planned, very well executed, to eliminate Russian soldiers that are forward. This is one example of many in recent days. This one came from GUR Chimera unit, part of the Timur Special Unit of the GUR Ministry of Defense. They say they successfully conducted a sweep of one of the settlements in the Zaporizhia direction. Separate groups of enemy infantry entrenched themselves in residential buildings. With skillful, methodical actions, the scouts drove the Russians out of their shelters. The special forces conducted a thorough sweep of the premises, destroyed the enemy infantry in close combat, and captured those who were lucky enough to survive. The survivors replenished the exchange fund and will later be exchanged for Ukrainian defenders. Now, when we're talking about Ukrainian offensive actions and what Fighter Bomber was talking about there, an issue that they're dealing with, this is it. It is not a brigade or even a battalion or even a company-sized assault. You're talking about, squad to platoon-sized elements. 10, 20 maybe on the high side, very heavily resourced. So small infantry assaults, a lot of assets available to them. You have to view this as like a special operations type mission. What comes to mind for me are like the Ranger direct action raids in Afghanistan and Iraq, where they just had resources piled on top, right? They knew exactly what they were getting into. That's what's happening here. These guys know every window of every building before they move in. They know the basements that are likely to house Russians. They know the ones that they're not sure, so they have to clear them out. And if there are, which is rare now, they know where the civilians might be located in these villages. So they are very, very deliberate and precise in these clearance operations, being very careful to not carry out large-scale assaults for no real purpose, but going in, pinprick operations, taking the Russians, killing or capturing any that are there, and then that area is secured. Now, so for the Russians, you got to think about what staying on the defense means. It's this is the type of headache they're having to deal with, right? They've got their supply lines cut. They can't get anything to the front, and anybody that does make it forward is being hunted down one by one by these Ukrainian operators, which of course leads to the third option presented here by Fighter Bomber, nuclear weapons, which, like, of course, Russia jumps to that one quickly. He says, quote, "The third option is variations of the first two, using nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. The risks and our losses here are almost impossible to predict, but we must understand that every new day of the special military operation brings us closer to the moment when WMD will appear in the hands of the enemy, and there's no guarantee that he won't use it immediately." That's a new one. I feel like there's been some fear-mongering in Russia.
We got to use a nuclear weapon before Ukraine gets theirs, because if they're going to get theirs soon.
And some Russian media in the last couple months talking about like UK and French plans maybe to supply Ukraine with nuclear weapons. Maybe that's what they're getting at. So he's saying we got to hurry up and use these nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction, biological or chemical weapons, because if we don't, Ukraine's going to. Again, look where we are 4 years into this conflict. It's crazy that that is being floated as a possible idea. He says, quote, "We must understand that the situation for the enemy is much worse than for us, but he has enough stability and resources to continue the war for at least a couple of years, even in his current position. Perhaps either we or the enemy have some cunning plan, military genius, or a wonder weapon up our sleeve that will radically change the situation of the battlefield. But since no one has pulled that out in 4 years, there's doubt that such changes will occur." And that's largely what we talk about. When, where is the war headed from here? You're seeing it, right? Like there's some unknown futuristic weapon that's going to pop out next week, next month, or next year that could drastically change the battlefield. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. There's been a lot of things that have shifted the dynamics at times throughout this conflict, but right now you're seeing it. And from the Russian perspective, massing forces in Donetsk, 5 years to take the rest of the Donbass. That's wild. That is the type of grinding fight that we have seen playing out in Ukraine for some time. We regularly go back to cite the statistic that in some of the areas like Pokrovsk, where Russia has seen the most progress over the course of the last 12 to 18 months, that is moving at a slower pace than the Western Front in World War I. That's insane. But that's what it is. That's the heavy defensive lines that Ukraine has built, imposing a significant cost on Russia as they try to continue to achieve their military objectives in this war. Now, if you stuck around this long, be sure to check out Substack. We just got this thing up and rolling. It's kind of a consolidation of all content in one place. So right now we've got like long form and interviews here on YouTube, short form on TikTok. We share some videos videos and pictures on Instagram, and then the research day to day and articles and podcasts is going up on Twitter or X. Substack is all of that plus a community chat. So I'm pretty excited for it. We're not taking content down from anywhere. It's just an in addition to. So if you're using that platform, check us out. If you're not using that platform, consider taking a look over there. Whether you follow me or not, of course, would love for you to check out the page. But they've done a lot of work. It's really impressive, kind of the feed and who's publishing over there. The free access that you have to a lot of incredible work on Substack is something else. But either way, if interested, check it out. That's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Doesn't look great, does it? Doesn't look great. This was sent to me. This is actually local to me, I guess. Let's see. We got to wrap up soon. But somebody said, so our town is now trying to get more flock cameras, and a lot of people are finally freaking out about it. But I also live in goddamn retarded ass, triple Trumper, stupid motherfuckers that are like, if you carry a credit card and a cell phone, they're already tracking everything you're doing. So it's all over now. Might as well let them get the whatever camera. Let them put a camera in my house. I don't do nothing illegal. If you don't do nothing illegal, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Just stupid shit like that. So this was sent to me. It says, cops use AI to jail innocent grandmother for 6 months.
They took a still of an image and sent it to one of these AI facial recognition companies. And that company spit out Angela as their result. The AI gave them a name. They looked at her social media account, said that's good enough.
Imagine that there's some crime committed in Fargo, North Dakota. Cops pull a grainy surveillance photo of a suspect off of a surveillance camera. Then they run that grainy surveillance photo through AI facial recognition software, and it matches with a completely innocent grandmother down in Tennessee who has never even been to North Dakota. Imagine they just run with that AI match and they issue an arrest warrant without performing an actual investigation into whether the AI software was correct. Then that innocent grandmother is arrested in Tennessee, put in jail on a hold to be extradited to North Dakota. She sits there in a jail for months with nobody even bothering to check and see if she is the actual suspect that they are looking for in North Dakota. Don't have to imagine, because that happened. And the grandmother's lawyers are here to tell you how bad this really is.
When I met with Angela, she said she'd never been to North Dakota, had never talked to the police from North Dakota, never been on an airplane before, barely left, 100-mile radius of Elizabethton. And then I re-emailed them on like the 10th and said, hey, I'm just re-upping this. I don't think you guys have the right person. It's a nightmare scenario in the best case world for the Fargo PD.
I mean, if they can basically grab anyone from around the country who fits into a blurry mass of pixels on a surveillance video, no one's safe.
Right. They grab anybody at any time.
This lady actually spent a substantial amount of time in jail, it sounds like.
Yeah, a lot. She was
6 months.
Approaching 6 months.
It was only 2 weeks ago that I posted that video from Reno where AI basically told cops to arrest this guy in a casino, and they did. Then last week, it must have been hundreds of you who sent me links to yet another AI false arrest case that hit the news, and this one is even worse. Using AI software, cops in Fargo, North Dakota get an alleged match with this grandmother down in Tennessee. Then, doing basically no detective work of their own, they just obtain an arrest warrant and they have her arrested and held in jail to be transported from Tennessee to North Dakota. Never mind that this woman has never even been to the state of North Dakota, never even been on an airplane before. If the AI says it's her, it must be her, right? I mean, that saves a lot of detective work. So I jumped right on it. My paralegal helped me track down and get in touch with the lawyers, and I got to interview both the criminal defense lawyer who freed this woman from jail, as well as the civil rights lawyer who is about to file a civil rights lawsuit. As I mentioned, the Reno one was bad, but this one is actually way worse. Instead of just one night or a couple nights in jail, this woman ended up spending almost 6 months in jail. This is Jay Greenwood, a contract public defender in Fargo, North Dakota. He's the one who discovered that the cops had the wrong woman sitting in jail awaiting trial and then did something about it. You're a lawyer in Fargo, North Dakota. How do you first hear the name Angela Lips?
I do contract public defender work for the city and the counties around here. And I was assigned to her case on Halloween is when she had her initial appearance. And then I met with her maybe a week and a half after that.
Maybe give me the rundown on what happened here.
We're dealing with someone who was using like a military ID or somebody's ID to go in and do bank fraud involving home equity loans, stuff like that. And somebody had gone into a bank and did this. And they had a video camera over the, when you come in the door. And then they had a video camera over the teller desk that she was dealing with. The police department used a still image. They're not great images. They're from overhead, but they took a still of an image and sent it to one of these AI facial recognition companies.
It doesn't seem like they cared. She told them she never even left the fucking state.
And that company spit out Angela as their result. And so the police department in their initial report says that one of their detectives looked at Angela and then went and looked at all of her social media accounts and said, looks like the lady in the video, and the AI is saying this is her. And so
compared several photos from social media accounts and driver's license photos to suspect photos of this case. Angela Lips does appear to be the suspect based on facial features, body type, and hairstyle and color, medium long length, blonde brown.
She was charged. So in Tennessee, they arrested her pretty violently, actually. Guns drawn, all that jazz. She's at, in a trailer park in Elizabethton, Tennessee. They arrest her, put her in jail in Tennessee. North Dakota's asking for extradition, so she's held essentially without bond.
Did she have any connection to North Dakota?
None. No. And so she sat there in Tennessee. Her public defender in Tennessee was just in charge of her extradition. And the extradition process is almost impossible to explain to people. But all they want to know is this the person that North Dakota is looking for? You're not able to argue merits or anything like that.
Are they guilty? Are they innocent? You can't show any proof of anything. Does North Dakota want this exact person? Is that the right person? We're not sending them the wrong person. Is this the person they're requesting? Then
the power of Christ compels you to give little Bert a little kiss.
It's just, is this the person? She didn't want to agree to just come to North Dakota. She was fighting extradition, so she sat in Tennessee for like 4 months, 5 months almost.
Do you have any idea how they, just using a photo, connected that to this woman in Tennessee out of Fargo, North Dakota?
Clearly, they've got something that looks at the photo through AI, sets up some type of profile, and then scrapes social media.
Uproar, in the community. This story's had real big legs, about what happened. But they didn't do any other investigation. They literally used the AI. The AI gave them a name. They looked at her social media account, said that's good enough, filed for her arrest and warrant for her, and for her charges, and just started the process. That was it. When I met with Angela, she said she'd never been to North Dakota, never talked to the police from North Dakota.
They don't give a fuck, right? They don't give a fuck if they ruin your life. So now that she's been released, they'll say, well, she didn't go to jail. She wasn't wrongfully convicted, right? We did our part. Sometimes you grab the wrong guy. They don't give a fuck that her life's been in turmoil. She could have been shot. She was in jail for 6 months.
Never been on an airplane before, barely left, 100-mile radius of Elizabethton. So I just asked her family to give me some bank records so I could verify that she'd been purchasing things, around her house. And when they gave me those, I was able to get the prosecutor and the detective into an interview room. They asked her a bunch of questions, and 5 days later, she was released.
Other than just getting the results from this AI database or AI software, do you know whether they performed any other investigation, such as you just did, talking to family, asking for credit card records, et cetera? Did they do anything?
Zero.
It was pretty, and that is the main issue that everyone's upset with. That she had, when I met with Angela afterwards, I asked if she had talked to police, because normally, I mean, you're a defense attorney, you're like, have you made any statements to them? Have you told them anything? She's like, no one's talked to me. So they didn't do anything. They didn't speak to anyone in her orbit. They didn't talk to her. They didn't, do what I did, which took, a week. They didn't do any of that. They based it solely on what the computer spit out and what they were able to see from her Facebook, Insta, stuff like that.
When you first met with her, what did she say to you? Did you believe her that, I've never been to North Dakota?
I don't know if it's a belief thing, but, we all, as defense attorneys, we all work on proof. I have an alibi. I was never in North Dakota. So, I did what I normally do in alibi. North Dakota, you have to give notice of alibi. You have to tell them who your witnesses are that'll present the alibi. And so I said, do you have any, were you buying things? Because that's usually a pretty good paper trail. And she said, yeah, I was, it's in Elizabeth. And I said, can I get your bank record? She goes, I'll have my family.
There's a lawsuit in the works.
And so her family emailed them to me, took like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then I got them to the state's attorney's office right after that.
All right, so you did their job for them, and you provided the prosecutors with proof that they had the wrong person. What did they do with that? Did they act immediately? Did they sit on it?
They sat on it for a little bit, and I don't know why necessarily. I know there was some tumult and turnover in the office at that time. So the guy that charged the case out, I emailed him probably on the 1st of December. It took a week and a half to meet with Angela or so, and then a couple weeks for her family to give me the stuff. And then I read through it and I forwarded it to the state's attorney's office, essentially saying, I don't think you guys have the right person. Like, she's buying stuff in Tennessee at the time. She's depositing her Social Security checks at the same time. And if you look back on the bank records, they match the same types of purchases and deposits that she was making the 2 months prior to that. So it's like, I don't think you have the right person. Well, I got no response. And then I re-emailed them on like the 10th and said, hey, like, I'm just re-upping this. I don't think you guys have the right person. And at that point, one of the prosecutors got back to me and said, hey, this has been reassigned to a different prosecutor. So I forwarded it again. Look, Jordan, I think this is the wrong person. And to his credit, once he got it, him and I worked immediately to set up an interview with the local PD. They did an interview at the jail with me, her, and the prosecutor. And she was set for preliminary hearing, which is a probable cause hearing in North Dakota. It's kind of an old vestige thing. We don't really need them anymore, but we still have them. They just didn't even proceed with the hearing. They just said, we're just going to dismiss. So she was out.
And so they just released her onto the street in Fargo, North Dakota? Or did they send her back? Or help her get back?
It was kind of I think Angela was kind of upset, and I say this completely out of my own assumptions.
So the craziest part of the story that these two lawyers will tell you is not just that this AI mistake was made and this woman spent 6 months incarcerated for no good reason, certainly no justifiable reason. The most shocking part about it was they just basically released Angela out onto the streets of Fargo, North Dakota in the middle of the winter. And this woman was in Tennessee. They didn't deliver her back to Tennessee. They didn't make other accommodations for her. They just said, oops, oh well, see you later. So how did she get back to Tennessee? That's another crazy part of the story. And that's actually a good part of the story, because the local defense bar, the criminal defense lawyers, the public defenders, the private lawyers who defend people in criminal cases in the Fargo, North Dakota area, they are the good guys in this story. They got together their own resources, their own money, and they helped this woman.
The Cass County Jail has what's called winter packages for people that are released from jail and are going out into the cold, because it sucks here in winter, especially around December time. So I think they offered her a coat or something like that. Again, she's from Tennessee. She has no family here. She has no money. She has no anything. They didn't even.
She's not built for North Dakota winters, that's for sure.
To bring her false teeth with her when they arrested her. So she's got nothing in North Dakota. The local defense bar, not me. I mean, there's rules against me giving her money and stuff, but the local defense bar got together some money for a hotel and some food, got her over the 2 days. And then there's a guy in our local community named Adam Martin who runs a foundation called F5 that helps people with felony records get housing and treatment, stuff like that. He drove her to Chicago halfway to meet with her family so that they could take her back to Tennessee. He did it in his own personal truck.
That is insane. That is really insane. I mean,
they ought to be required to fucking get you back to the state they extradited you from.
Government
fuck out of here.
Would arrest the wrong person and take you from Tennessee to Fargo, North Dakota, and then set you out on the street in the middle.
There's a ton of people that would just fucking die, dude. Like, if they picked you up in fucking Tennessee and took you to goddamn California, you would just die. I mean, you don't have family support, money, transportation. They would just fucking die.
Winter in Fargo.
Like ICE killed that dude that was mostly blind or whatever.
Yeah, it's a little bonkers. Not a lot of forethought there. The local police chief has been pretty vocal in not taking any responsibility, that they had what they needed.
Yeah, I read the local police's chief's statement. He said, we relied on a partner agency, and it was their mistake, basically.
He's not backtracking at all. So,
I mean, what is their defense to that?
I don't think there is one. He keeps making statements about how the case has been dismissed without prejudice, which happens every single time.
Here's another important part of the story. So while the local defense bar...
Oh, yeah. He did say that. It's been dismissed without prejudice, meaning that if our investigation reveals further details, we may be refiling these charges.
The F5 Project, Mr. Greenwood, they are the good guys in this story. The bad guys in the story, the Fargo Police Department, the leadership completely attempts to dodge accountability and gaslight the public. So after the public finds out about this and there's outrage, the police chief suddenly resigns/retires. And there's this surprise press conference, I think it was March 11th, where they claim this surprise sudden retirement is basically for family reasons.
So the chief suddenly sends me a letter last night and says, well, sounds like a good idea, Tim, I'm going to retire. So put in his letter of resignation last night for retirement, and he will be done at the end of the month. Are there any questions?
Chief, this question's for you. Ethan Kramer, Valley News Live. I'm just curious, why now? Are you making this decision to retire?
Sure. Well, this has been a family discussion for some time. So really the execution of it is also a family decision. I think this is a good time for a lot of reasons, but my wife and I have a big anniversary coming up pretty soon. We'd like to take not that we don't enjoy vacation, but an enjoyable vacation.
And almost all the reporters there at this press conference ask all of these ridiculous softball questions like, what is your favorite ice cream? Only one of the reporters.
Where are you going on vacation?
Obvious question that should have been asked by all of them there, and that was about the Angela Lips incident. They completely refuse to answer to the public at that time. They just don't answer the question.
A question, why did nobody from FPD ever speak with Angela Lips for the 5 months she was in jail?
Well, thank you, Matt, for that question, but we're not here to talk about that today.
Just for the press, that's an ongoing investigation. Matt's been asking about it, but we have to wait till the investigation is over. Any other questions in regard to the retirement, please?
But it's not going away. The public is only getting more outraged. There are media pieces running about the Angela Lips story. So then the police chief does a radio interview where he tries to clarify some of the misinformation and provide so-called context.
You mentioned a review was underway. You've been at this a long time. Just from a 30,000-foot view, do you see mistakes having been made?
No, I don't, although there's always room for improvement. And I think, again, to reiterate, this wasn't on anyone's radar until the last week and a half, 2 weeks. I had no knowledge of this whatsoever, that this had occurred. And as soon as we got the first couple of inquiries,
that's part of the problem.
Our investigations division captain for
it's not an excuse. That's part of the problem. I had no idea that this is going on. Yeah, that's the problem. Right? It's not an excuse like, oh, well, we didn't know.
And as would be our typical response, it's an ongoing investigation, and we can't talk about it, and we can't condemn in any way any potential persons of interest or suspects. So we have to be very careful there so that the state's attorney can actually carry out their mission as well. And that investigation is still ongoing, and we hope to, in the future, be able to definitively know one way or the other what her involvement is or is not, but at this juncture, we don't know.
Then apparently that pisses off people on the city council there in Fargo. They have some sort of meeting after that occurs. One of the city commissioners gives a radio interview like the same day or the next day, just tearing the police chief and the mayor apart.
Sir, what happened yesterday, we had an executive session, and in that, basically, everyone tried to deny responsibility and blame other people. The other thing is, this is a huge liability for the taxpayers of Fargo. More than likely, we're going to get sued.
Did anybody answer why somebody was incarcerated for 5 months and nobody went down to see her?
And that's why we have to have a review, because yesterday the police chief and the mayor were totally denying any responsibility or even knowledge. And so we have to find out what exactly went on. And then for the police chief to resign immediately, obviously, there's a lot of very bad things going on. And so we need to have somebody.
No, it's just his anniversary, dude. He resigned for his anniversary.
The first thing you do is evade responsibility and try to blame someone else.
So now just yesterday, they had another press conference. Did they accept responsibility? Let's continue the conversation, and then we'll get to that.
Imagine the best case scenario for Fargo PD is that Angela was the one that did this, and they somehow come up with a bunch of evidence that she's this criminal mastermind. And again, I don't think that's true. I think they just have the wrong person. But let's say they find out that she was the one doing this. Their best case scenario is they flew a person here, paid for it, paid for her incarceration in Tennessee. The feds paid for the arrest. We paid for her flight. We paid for her incarceration here. And then they dismissed the case because they didn't have enough evidence to begin with. And they have to start the process all over again and bring her back here. You got to be kidding me. That's a nightmare scenario in a best case world for the Fargo PD.
Anything you can tell me about Angela Lips?
Oh, she's actually incredibly kind, really nice. For someone that had gone through the process she had gone through and was in North Dakota now, having never been here before, she's gone through it, man. She, in addition to the stuff she dealt with here in Tennessee and Fargo, she, I think the local news did a story on her and said that she may have lost her housing. And, when you're in jail, sometimes your Social Security disability gets suspended. So she was missing out on some of that stuff. I think she might have lost a pet. So she went through hell.
Because Jay Greenwood was the court-appointed public defender who represented Angela and got her freed from jail. That's basically where his representation ended. Fortunately, Angela was able to hire civil rights lawyers to then begin investigating what happened to her for a potential civil rights lawsuit to be filed. So I also got in touch with the civil rights lawyers who now are representing Angela. They're still investigating, still collecting evidence, but hopefully they are going to be filing this civil lawsuit. This is my conversation with Eric Rice out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, who is one of the two civil rights lawyers now representing Angela. How did this happen? Who screwed up?
And that's what we're currently investigating. So we haven't filed anything yet. We're trying to do our diligence and finding out exactly what occurred. And, you do this work. So I think that sometimes it's hard to find exactly where the issue occurred, even if the overall issue is pretty apparent. And so that's something we're currently looking into. It does appear that AI was used as an investigative tool by law enforcement. I will say I've seen some police reports in this matter. I'm not sure if they're all of them, but what I've seen is that an officer came to Angela because of an AI lead, looked at her social media and says this person could be the one on these blurry surveillance videos, and then that caused an arrest warrant to issue and Angela to be extradited and detained and charged.
That's insane. This person could be
an officer found some sort of geographical connection to North Dakota or some connection to the bank or evidence of Angela improperly gaining or using funds or being connected to the other suspect that they apparently have in custody. So even if you take AI out of the equation, if an officer sees someone on social media that lives halfway across the country that looks like somebody could possibly be on a blurry surveillance video, you wouldn't accept that as a sufficient investigation to bring charges and do all of this. And just because AI, initially provided potentially a lead for Angela, doesn't close that gap.
The more they did, in fact, research for social media, if they did, then the more exculpatory evidence they would have found.
Well, and that's what initially came to my mind, and we're currently investigating. Like you said, if an officer sees even a face that could potentially, fit within this blur on the surveillance video, if that person has no local connection, the first thing you'd expect an officer to do is say, well, was Angela in the area? Could she have been in the area? Does she have any ties to this area? And if you can't put her even in the state or in that portion of the country where the crime allegedly occurred, then
insane, dude.
Investigation before issuing an arrest warrant.
Government employees will make mistakes, of course, but it's what they do after they realize the mistake is made.
The warrant came way too fucking quick.
Here, they could have done the right thing, or they could have helped.
If this has just been a story about, some cops came to visit me or called me or blah, 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 whatever. And they said I look like this person on some security footage in North Dakota, but clearly I cleared that up. Told them I've never been in North Dakota. They checked, found out, I don't live there. I've never been there. Never leave my fucking house. I'm on Social Security, live in a fucking trailer park in the middle of Tennessee. It's not me. So everything's over. There is no new story there, right? It'd be a funny story to tell to your friends, but the fact that they just went ahead and issued a warrant is wild.
Make it right. Instead, they sort of just turn around on the street in North Dakota in the wintertime. And from what Jay told me, never apologized, and sort of took the position that they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's the reporting I've seen. I know the chief has issued some statements. I think other officials from the city. The tenor of the statements I've seen is essentially, while the officer reported it and a prosecutor signed off and a judge signed off, so obviously it must have been fine or else, that wouldn't have happened. And essentially they've also made a fact that Angela was had her case dismissed without prejudice. So, they kind of left the door open. Well, she could still be a suspect or we're still investigating. We might come back for her.
Yeah, sure.
Anything in the file.
The lady that's never been in North Dakota did the crime in North Dakota.
Didn't have the evidence when they issued the warrant and charged her and, tried to bring criminal proceedings against her. What do they have now? I would say that if they don't have new evidence now that ties Angela to North Dakota or the crime or something better than they had before, they should really clear that air of suspicion for Angela because she's still dealing with the effects afterward.
And you would think, right, if they're using this AI software, and I think they're using the Flock stuff as well, Jay told me, of course.
No one wants to be the one that says, hey, this is what went wrong, because that opens up even more of a lawsuit liability.
Using it everywhere. Why aren't they putting their two little magic tools that they like to rely on together? All right, if this woman who lives in Tennessee somehow committed this crime in Fargo, North Dakota, and when this crime was committed, you have a surveillance photo that was taken on a particular day at a particular time. How easy would that be to check and see what her license plate number is, what is her
logs,
registration? Did those show up on any of your 1,000 Flock cameras between Fargo, North Dakota, and wherever she lives in Tennessee?
And that's what I say. I can't say whether they did or not because I don't have the full file and all the answers. But that's, again, not something unexpected or something unusual. That would be a basic investigative tool, is to say, if you have this possible face match in Tennessee, you got to find something that would put her in North Dakota or allows her to get to North Dakota or puts her somewhere in the vicinity. And if you don't have that, then maybe don't claim PC and don't issue an arrest warrant and don't extradite her and make her stand charges, because that's a basic element you'd expect a prosecutor to have to prove, is that Angela was in that part of the country around the time that these crimes occurred. And if you don't have that piece of evidence, then maybe continue your investigation.
How is Angela doing now?
The department, as you mentioned, hasn't apologized, hasn't taken full responsibility that they messed up or that she shouldn't have been suspected. And if anything, they noted her case was dismissed without prejudice. So Angela's having to answer questions about if she's still under suspicion and can she further prove her innocence. And that's what I say. This case really highlights the dangers of...
Put that in a lawsuit. It's emotional damage. She's terrified they're going to come grab her again.
We're going to see more and more of this, where officers are using it as a shortcut instead of a proper law enforcement investigation. It basically means that anyone could potentially be named as a suspect in these types of cases, depending on what you have on social media, depending on how clear the surveillance video is, depending on what database or library law enforcement is pulling from. If they can basically grab anyone from around the country who fits into a blurry mass of pixels on a surveillance video, no one's safe. And that's why it's important that the line be established with Angela's case and with cases like these now, that we expect and demand more from law enforcement to use AI as a tool, but not as a basis itself to charge and extradite a person across the country.
So after I talked to Jay and Eric, in fact, this was just yesterday, the city of Fargo holds a press conference, another one. And remember, at their earlier press conference, they refused to answer any questions about the Angela Lips incident.
Why did nobody from FPD ever speak with Angela Lips for the 5 months she was in jail?
Well, thank you, Matt, for that question, but we're not here to talk about that today.
And in his
talking about retirement today,
the chief of police claimed they did nothing wrong.
You've been at this a long time.
Retiring for an anniversary.
Do you see mistakes having been made?
No, I don't, although there's always room for improvement.
But now that more of the public knows that's not true, that was a lie, that was gaslighting, they once again come out publicly and have a press conference about the Angela Lips incident.
We understand that this situation has caused a lot of concern and frustration in our community, and we completely understand that. We've been working diligently to look into this matter in greater detail, and I'll have some reporting out on that, identifying
Doesn't everybody retire for their anniversary?
areas where we could have done something better.
They basically try to do some damage control. They say, well, we did not use AI software. It wasn't us. It was our colleagues over at the West Fargo Police Department. It was them. They did it, and they sent us the AI match. We didn't even know about it.
Just in terms of facial recognition technology, facial recognition is a form of artificial intelligence. We don't have any equipment that does facial recognition artificial intelligence at the Fargo Police Department. At some point, our partner agency over at West Fargo purchased their own AI facial recognition system that we were not aware of at the executive level anyway, and we would not have allowed that to be used, and it has since been prohibited, and I'll talk about that in coming up here. We have always gone through ND Slick, and some of the information that came from the West Fargo AI system is part of the issue, not necessarily them, but our reliance on that information. Information that we received from West Fargo PD was their submission.
They did it, not us.
Idea used in one of their fraud cases. They, through their AI system, made that identification of Ms. Lips and forwarded that information, and I would say it's not an identification, it's a potential suspect, but they forwarded that information to our detectives, who then assumed, wrongly, that they had also sent in the surveillance photos with that photo ID. As you can imagine, the photo on the fake ID that I use doesn't necessarily mean that I am the person that's in that fake ID. And so the wrong assumption was that the surveillance photos had been sent. However, the photo did hit on her as a potential person.
If I understand this gaslighting correctly, they're not saying we should not have just relied on AI and we should have performed a more thorough investigation to corroborate some AI match. What they're actually saying is we didn't use AI, we just relied ignorantly on our colleagues' AI over at the West Fargo Police Department that we don't actually usually trust. So we don't have it, and we would not have relied on it had we known that they used it, but we didn't know. But nevertheless, we put that into a sworn affidavit that was presented to a judge that caused this woman to be arrested multiple states away and then jailed for like 6 months. The worst part about this press conference is that when asked by a reporter if they were going to apologize to Angela Lips, he refused to apologize and once again implied or insinuated or even outright alleged that Angela Lips still may be a suspect, despite the fact that he just finished blaming West Fargo Police Department using their unreliable AI.
He apologized for eroding the trust of the community, but a lot of calls have been out there to apologize to Angela Lips. Why not do that?
Sure, valid question, and I think we had a little discussion on that last night as well. And so at this juncture, we still don't know who's involved and who's not involved. We're going to have to whittle through all of this kind of vast network.
Clearly, the person who's never been to North Dakota is not involved in your crime in North Dakota. I think we can rule her out. Damn, dude.
People and who's involved. You could have
it's a game of conspiratorial who can take the least amount of responsibility
type of operation in which many people are involved. And so kind of just like if you think about a robbery crew. Today we go out, 4 of us, and we do an armed robbery. Today I got the gun, he takes the money, someone else watches the door. Tomorrow we switch it up. He's got the gun, I watch the door, someone else takes the money. And so there's a lot of people involved in this. So I think that's an appropriate question and response at the right time, but we do not know definitively who's involved and who's not at this juncture.
I mean, what else could they possibly have done? It was AI's fault, and it wasn't our AI. It was their AI. I mean, it's not like we could have done any real investigation work. I mean, we had no way of knowing whether this woman had ever entered the state of North Dakota. We don't have flock cameras everywhere. We don't have the ability to subpoena bank records or credit card records. We don't have the right to call people on the phone and ask them questions. We don't have the ability to walk up to their front door and do a knock and talk. And we definitely don't have any sort of nationwide databases.
The Flockstein cameras.
Access to find out information about people and, investigate them. There's basically nothing we could do. As Eric explained, there definitely were not only things that they could do, but that constitutionally they are required to do in order to arrest somebody because probable cause is required. Hopefully others will see this and say, you know what, we need to have an AI policy in our policies. Even if there's an AI match, you still need to do police work.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's a lesson that needs to be driven home. And I think there's two aims here that I hope people take away from Angela's case. And one is that this AI face recognition is not reliable and is not meant to be used as a substitute for conventional police investigation. And two, I hope officers take a moment just to...
AI should be taken with the same grain of salt as, I think there's a lady that kind of looks like that. I think I saw her on social media, but she lives way, way, way away. That's the same as just some random person saying, it kind of looks like Joe down the road. Not really, but
consequences
if you squint real hard.
On the people who are targeted. There are some very basic questions that should have been answered. Was Angela in the area? Could she have been in the area? What do her bank records show? Does she have any tie? Go to the teller, have her identify, and see if she names Angela as the person. And it appears that a lot of that wasn't done. And I think going forward, if officers take to heart that these tools are not an effective substitute for investigation and that they could cause extreme harm to members of their community that most officers want to help protect, that they'll pause.
Especially as blurry as it was. I mean, it could have been anybody between the ages of 35 and fucking 75,
take a moment to make sure that their efforts are proper.
AI is a powerful tool, but that's what it is. It's a tool. When it comes to having people arrested, you cannot just rely on AI. As lawyers, we use AI all the time. It allows us to...
What's the famous movie where they predict your future crimes and they predict the cop's going to kill his wife? Whatever. That's what we're talking about.
Do our jobs better.
That's what we're headed to.
Lawyers cannot rely on AI to write their briefs for them. Cops and prosecutors cannot rely on AI to find their suspects for them. But the difference is when lawyers do that, they get in trouble. It's been all over the news. But on the other hand, when cops do it, when the government does it, they do not hold themselves accountable.
I'm not on social media at all.
Very simple.
I don't share my face, my photos, my likeness, my voice. I'm not on social media. It's a hard stand I take.
Relied on AI and did absolutely nothing else. Angela Lips paid the price, incarcerated for multiple months. There is a GoFundMe page for Angela Lips, which I will link in the description below. It's currently at $57,802 raised. It was actually very simple, very basic detective work that ironically they could have used AI to do if they really wanted to use AI. I'm sure this won't be the last AI case I do a video on, but I'll continue to follow this one. And if I hear anything else, I'll do an update video. And you can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
There you go, guys. I'm out for the night. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Liam's got a soccer game tomorrow that I'll be at, but I'll be live again. I'm doing some work at the campground trying to get the doors in. I know I haven't been recording a lot of that. I need to make that into TikTok videos. The weather's warming up and I just want to work on shit. I need to record some of that and post it other places. That's what I like to do. I like doing that more than I like covering politics and crazy people on the internet. Either way, support the show. That's the only way I can pay for it. If it doesn't fund itself, I can't take a loss doing it, especially now I'm trying to buy a house and everything's fucking ridiculous. So if you want to support the show, make a donation at the links that the mods put in chat. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. If you make a donation, leave your name. I want to thank you.
This particular show.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. This is my mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience. It's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit.
Good night, guys.
Out here busting the grifts.
I'll see you over on TikTok. Follow me. If you've got the TikTok account, follow me on TikTok. I'll see you over there. I am going to start posting again. I need to stay on top of it. Legend, you know how you do that whiny, bitchy reminder thing? Do that. You're far enough away, I can't drive and strangle you. So, yeah, do that.
You don't have those